On Saming Island, an unpopular streamer named Lin Xiao arrives for a job interview. She sees that her rivals all follow the cute style, and some even have the same look as her. Just then, one candidate walks out crying with her hands over her face. The organizers suddenly announce that the streamers must remove their makeup before the interview. Xiao heard that the CEO of the Lin Corporation is not interested in women, so she plans to use her brains to win him over. While outside, she sees the same candidate still sobbing. Xiao complains, "Some fake bald old CEO is making us remove our makeup." Little does she know, the CEO of Lin Corporation, named Cheng Hao, is standing right behind her. He leans down to pick up a phone and returns it to Xiao, making sure to remember her face. Inside the office, Cheng Hao questions a manager named Yin Tainan about why he is still bringing old streamers for the interview. Tainan is afraid that since the CEO just bought the short video app, firing all the old staff would cause a panic. Seeing Xiao, Tainan quickly introduces her as a newcomer with fewer than 3,000 fans. Cheng Hao reminds the manager that being new doesn't mean someone has talent. Xiao quickly shares that she loves traveling. She has cycled in Tibet, hiked in Xinjiang, and went to Iceland to see the Northern Lights. But she feels her own country's landscapes are the most beautiful, so she recently visited Lingdingyang Island. Cheng Hao interrupts and tells the manager to get ready to quit. Xiao suddenly rushes over with a jar of insects that scares Cheng Hao. She even performs eating an insect to prove she stands out from the others. She promises to do any task during the live stream because she can dance, drive a yacht, surf, and deep sea dive. She says that every time she goes deep into the ocean, she feels completely empty. She only hears her own breathing and the soothing sound of the sea. All the anxiety in her heart completely disappears. Cheng Hao's heart softens, and he agrees to give Xiao a chance. Before the opening of Saming Island, the streamers must go through outdoor training. Tainan explains that being a streamer for Lin Corporation means being pretty and ready for challenges. He will decide the live stream content for the opening day based on everyone's performance. Xiao is naturally lazy about working out, so she faces many difficulties during training. Time passes quickly, and there are only 48 hours left until the island officially opens. Xiao and the streaming team land on Saming Island to prepare for the live stream. Tainan assigns tasks to everyone, and Xiao is put in charge of the diving segment. The other streamers are upset because the main segment was given to the person with the fewest fans. Xiao also feels she doesn't deserve it, but the manager tells her to stop acting like she's not happy. Tainan reveals that Cheng Hao himself specifically chose Xiao to dive with him. Tainan says for years, there hasn't been a single woman around Cheng Hao. Besides the finance director, Xiao is the only one who gets to be his partner. Xiao tells herself that she can't let them know she doesn't actually know how to dive. Guessing that Cheng Hao's luxury room has a private pool, Xiao comes up with an idea. She downloads a photo of Cheng Hao and photoshops her face onto the person standing next to him. She intentionally let the receptionist see her phone wallpaper to get Cheng Hao's room card in advance. Sure enough, the receptionist thought Xiao was the boss's girlfriend and gave her the room key right away. Xiao complained that her boyfriend was old-fashioned, so she told the receptionist not to mention their relationship to anyone. Entering a 5-star luxury room for the first time, Xiao was overwhelmed by how grand it was. She called her best friend for help, asking for a crash course on how to deep sea dive. Downstairs, the CEO arrived with his best friend named Du Qingze. The receptionist wished the boss a fun night. Cheng Hao wondered when the receptionist's greeting had changed. He entered the room and saw women's belongings scattered all over the floor. He heard a noise by the pool and discovered a woman diving underwater. Just as Xiao popped up, she screamed that a creep was trying to feel her up. Cheng Hao corrected her, saying he was her boss. Inside, Cheng Hao yelled, asking why Xiao was in his room. Qingze reminded his friend not to raise his voice at a girl, but Cheng Hao said she was even brave enough to eat insects. Xiao confessed she came here to practice diving for her live stream. She said she signed up for a place with a pool, but ended up in his room by mistake. Right then, her phone rang, leading Cheng Hao to discover he was Zhao's wallpaper. Zhao's friend scolded her over the phone, saying she was asking for trouble by being so vain and trying to live stream a dive for island promotion when she didn't even know how to dive. Cheng Hao overheard everything and fired Xiao on the spot. Qingze calmed Cheng Hao down because they hadn't prepared a replacement streamer yet. He noticed that Xiao had learned the basic techniques earlier, so if Cheng Hao took her diving no deeper than 10 meters, there shouldn't be any accidents. When it was time for the opening, Xiao didn't want to drown at sea, but Cheng Hao didn't give her a chance to run away. Regardless of whether she knew how to dive or not, she had to finish the main segment with him. On the yacht, Xiao started the live stream for the highlight diving performance. She introduced the person next to her as the CEO of Lin Corporation. Seeing Xiao struggling with the zipper of her swimsuit, Cheng Hao came over to give her a hand. That small gesture made a smile play on her lips without her even realizing it. Xiao continued the live stream, announcing she would dive down to a depth of 15 meters. Down there, she would see the unique scenery of the blue hole area. Before heading into the water, Xiao asked the CEO for a stunt double, but he assured her he would keep her safe. He advised her to be honest and trustworthy. Otherwise, if she signaled for help later, he wouldn't believe her anymore. Xiao could only give a weak smile and dove into the deep sea with Cheng Hao. The view below really opened her eyes, but suddenly running out of oxygen made her unable to breathe. Cheng Hao quickly attached a backup tank for Xiao, but she was becoming increasingly disoriented. Cheng Hao saw a whirlpool behind them and immediately pushed Xiao upward. He was sucked down into the deep hole. Just then, the TV news reported that 2 years ago, a mysterious energy field appeared near Earth, causing the Turtle Dovetail Comet to veer off its orbit. The Aerospace Agency predicts that this comet will be visible in the southern sky soon. Cheng Hao witnesses it with his own eyes and suddenly finds himself back at the time of the streamer interviews for the island's opening. He doesn't understand what's happening because he was clearly diving in the blue hole. He can't believe that time has turned back or that a parallel world could exist. Right then, he hears Xiao calling him old and bald. Cheng Hao rushes outside and picks up the phone that is playing a video of Xiao promoting Lingdingyang Island. He asks her, "Why exactly are we back here?" She admits she was trying to get his attention on purpose, but says this is the first time they've actually met. She tells him to remember to give her some extra friendship points later. In the interview room, Cheng Hao hears Xiao say the exact same things as before. He remembers that he lost his life at the bottom of the sea because of her. If heaven is giving him a chance to live again, he definitely won't let her be near him again. Cheng Hao hears Xiao say she knows how to dive, so he asks her some basic questions about oxygen tanks. Just as expected, Xiao gives a vague answer and skillfully shifts the topic to her other strengths. Cheng Hao sees Xiao reach in her bag and warns her not to pull out insects to scare him. He bitterly says that one casual lie of hers could kill someone else. Xiao doesn't even know what's going on before the CEO calls security to take her out. She blames the overbearing CEO for accusing her of disregarding people's lives for no reason. Xiao is so angry that she doesn't look where she's going and almost gets hit by Ching's car. She looks up and is suddenly attracted by his pure beauty. She says her heart is beating very fast, so she asks for his phone number. Chingza tells Xiao that if she's still in pain, she can contact him anytime. On the other side, Cheng Hao guesses the blue hole has a secret magnetic field. Just then, Chingza comes in and asks why Cheng Hao canceled the streamer interviews. Didn't Lin Corporation spend a huge amount of money to buy the livestream app just to promote Saming Island? Cheng Hao says he will postpone the opening event for 2 months. Chingza reminds his best friend that Saming Island is the main focus of the group after it goes public. Moreover, 3 generations of the Lin family have worked hard for this project, but Cheng Hao suspects something is wrong with the blue hole. Chingza still hopes his friend will think it over, because changing the schedule will definitely affect the company's stock. The secretary named Xiao Lan doesn't want to die for work anymore, so she pretends to faint on the floor. After Xiao Lan goes on leave, Cheng Hao has to make his own coffee to get it just right. He calls his friend in to organize his desk because he doesn't remember the rules for filing documents. Chingza clarifies that he is the finance director, not a secretary. Moreover, Cheng Hao was the one who set the rules for filing documents. Cheng Hao spat out a sip of coffee, wondering why it wasn't exactly 63 degrees like usual. Chingza asked to go to the bank, but Cheng Hao made him find a fountain pen to sign papers. Meeting her best friend Dan Dan, Xiao said her heart just got hit, and the culprit was a gentle, handsome guy. He gave her a business card with bold fingerprints and a nice scent. Dan Dan wondered if the handsome guy was an insurance salesman. Xiao guessed she took the wrong card, but couldn't find Ching's business card. She remembered a staff member tried to sell her insurance earlier. She thought he gave her the card, so she just threw it on the ground. Little did she know, that was actually Ching's card. While working overtime, Cheng Hao looked into quantum theory. He learned that after an event happens, it can lead to different outcomes, and each outcome splits into a parallel universe. Cheng Hao wondered if he had died in a different timeline. In the company lobby, Xiao finally found the handsome guy's card. As she was riding away, she was hit by Cheng Hao's car. She blamed him for not looking at the road, causing her bike to get stuck under his car. Cheng Hao came to help, but unexpectedly met his rival again. Cheng Hao questioned why Xiao kept showing up everywhere, while she called him a source of bad luck. Cheng Hao leaned down to get the bike and accidentally saw a scratch on Zhao's leg. He reminded her it was hard to walk and offered to drive her home. But then he got scared for his life and kicked the unlucky woman out of the car. Xiao watched Cheng Hao call a taxi and asked him to pay for a medical bill and bike repairs. Surprisingly, he emptied his pockets and only found a few coins. So he scanned a code to transfer 2,000 yuan, which changed her opinion of him. When Cheng Hao got home, Chingza cooked for him. Just then, Qing's phone got a message, so Chung Hao quickly read it for his friend. He saw a childish profile picture and guessed it was a niece asking for Qingza. He heard his friend say he didn't have a niece, so he just blocked the scam account. It turned out Xiao had messaged Qingza to get to know him, but she was rejected right at the start. Seeing Chung Hao looking dazed, Qingza asked what happened. Chung Hao said he had died and come back to life, even traveling through parallel dimensions. He also had a theory that he suddenly got memories from another universe. In that place, he had an accident and died in the blue hole. So, he had to figure this out to avoid the tragedy happening again. Qingza urged Chung how to eat his noodles while he warmed up some milk. He guessed his best friend was just under too much pressure and was having delusions. The next day, Qingza hired a new assistant for Chung Hao. She saw the hot weather and added some ice to his water. Chung Hao warned her that drinking ice water in the heat could lead to a heart attack. The assistant got nervous and spilled water on the table, so he kicked her out. Qingza timed the assistants and servers, and none of them lasted 5 minutes with Chung Hao. In the end, he still had to serve his best friend himself. Chung Hao admitted he was a bit cranky earlier, since he hadn't found the problem with the blue hole yet. He remembered he knew an aerospace research expert. Qingza went down to buy lunch and coincidentally met Xiao defending a restaurant employee against a difficult customer. Qingza went over to say hello, but Xiao blamed him for blocking her number. Qingza guessed there was a misunderstanding and added Xiao back. He praised her for being calm and brave, saying she was a perfect fit for an assistant role at Lin Corporation. He said he would send a job info and hoped she would give it a try. The next day, Xiao was excited to be an assistant for the handsome guy. The staff heard Xiao was recommended by Qingza, so they pulled her in to sign the contract. Xiao didn't expect to be hired directly with a salary of 25,000 yuan a month. After entering the office, she quickly started cleaning her boss's desk. Outside, Tainan watched the CEO arrive for work and timed how long Xiao would last. Chung Hao saw his rival sitting boldly in the chair and questioned why she was there. He couldn't get away from his rival fast enough, so how could he possibly hire her as his assistant? When he heard that Lin Xiao refused to leave, he immediately grabbed her by the collar and threw her out. Xiao remembered that this was already the third time Chung Hao had brought her in only to kick her out. She swallowed her anger and went back to demand a clear answer. Xiao asked him exactly what mistake she had made that caused CEO Chung to chase her away time and time again. She argued that if she were fired without a reason, the company would have to pay her 3 months severance. Plus, she could report them to the labor board, which would definitely hurt Lin Corporation's reputation. Basically, she wanted to make 70,000 yuan in just 3 seconds. However, Chung Hao agreed to take Xiao in for 1 month, waiting for her to make a mistake so he could fire her on the spot. Xiao said she only cared about the compensation, but to her surprise, Chung Hao was determined to make things difficult for her. He promised that within 10 days, he would have her crying for her mom. However, Xiao was also certain that Chung Hao would be paying that compensation within 3 days. Hearing that Xiao was staying at the company, Qingza gave her a survival guide for being Chung Hao's assistant. He warned her that if she wanted to keep her life, she had to memorize every single point in that notebook. Back at the dorm, Xiao practiced her 15-degree smile. She compared Chung Hao to a showy old man, complaining that he even regulated the amount and temperature of the water for his coffee. But a young and cute girl like her was determined to handle him no matter what. Early the next morning, Xiao personally greeted the CEO at the elevator. She kept the corners of her mouth curved at exactly 15 degrees as required. Right then, the power went out in the elevator. Seeing Chung Hao fearfully looking up how to escape on his phone, Xiao decided to play a little trick to tease him. When the elevator finally opened, Chung Hao quickly escaped his bad luck. Back in the office, Chung Hao called his assistant to bring coffee. Chung Hao wanted to make things hard for Xiao, but to his surprise, she was already prepared for him. Chung Hao then complained that the coffee wasn't exactly 63 degrees. But Xiao remembered the CEO once saying that feelings are never as accurate as numbers. So, she had prepared a thermometer to make sure the water was exactly 63 degrees. She specifically chose a food-grade thermometer and sterilized it carefully before bringing it in. When Xiao saw her boss change his mind and asked for tea instead, she immediately carried the coffee tray back out. When Xiao returned, Chung Hao intentionally threw a folder on the floor. To his surprise, she caught the document without spilling a single drop of tea. Xiao was ready to take on the old man's moves. While Chung Hao challenged the annoying brat to try and beat him, he tossed a list of documents to Xiao and ordered her to compile them into a presentation by the end of the day. Xiao couldn't believe people still wrote things by hand in this day and age. Qingza wondered why Chung Hao suddenly needed a presentation for the meeting when he never did before. Chung Hao used the excuse that he wanted it to be more vivid, but in reality, he only gave her the task so he could nitpick her work. However, she knew exactly what he was up to. Late into the night, Xiao was still working hard on overtime, Chung Hao wanted to see how much longer she could endure it. In a dream, Xiao saw herself sinking deep into the ocean, and a man pushed her toward the surface before being sucked into a whirlpool. At the same time, Chung Hao was also dreaming of the past. The next day, during the meeting about the Samming Island project, Chung Hao told his assistant to start the presentation. Xiao had added many cute illustrations and trending social media comments. Chung Hao's face turned pale, and he told each department to go and make a detailed plan. Meeting her boss later, Xiao reminded him that he wanted to attract young people, which is why she added the hottest images and catchphrases from the internet. Chung Hao didn't need to understand, and he didn't want an employee who acted like a know-it-all. Xiao felt that coming up with plans was the planning department's job, but the CEO blamed a lowly assistant because he didn't approve the presentation. Chung Hao angrily kicked Xiao out, just as Qing's father, named Du Zhongshu, came to visit him. Qing's introduced her. Xiao is Chung Hao's new assistant. I'm telling you, Chung Hao, don't fire her because I'm not going to serve you anymore if you do. Meeting with Chung Hao in private, Du Zhongshu complained that he hadn't had a peaceful moment since the order to delay the island's opening. He reminded Chung Hao that the Samming project was his parents' unfinished dream and his grandfather's final wish. Chung Hao stated that the Blue Hole area has many hidden problems, and the safety of the tourists is in their hands. Du Zhongshu always supported Chung Hao, but he hoped he would focus on the big picture. While waiting for Qingzi to come out, Xiao intentionally dropped her pen. His glowing face made her heart flutter once again. Qingzi praised Xiao for making a great presentation, but said that internet slang really isn't appropriate in a place like Lin Corporation. A simple word of encouragement and a touch of his hand were enough to keep her there to continue fighting the devil CEO. Late into the night, Xiao was still working hard on fixing the presentation, but Chung Hao criticized her for wasting time, asking what the point was of fixing it now. Xiao said she just wanted to learn how to do better. She followed him as he left work, right when someone intentionally cut the power. Chung Hao yelled in a panic, blaming Xiao for always bringing him bad luck. He urged her to stand on her tiptoes immediately, or else the elevator would fall. He reached over her to call the maintenance crew to fix the elevator. Xiao asked, "How long do we have to stand on our toes?" Surprisingly, Chung Hao made her stay in that position until the rescue team showed up. Meanwhile, a masked person snuck into Chung Hao's office. He rummaged through everything, but still couldn't find the documents he needed. Back in the elevator, Xiao couldn't hold it any longer. Chung Hao instructed her to sit down slowly, while he curled up and forbade her from talking to avoid wasting oxygen. "Chung Hao, are you scared? I heard that if you close your eyes when you're scared, you'll start imagining ghosts and demons. Lin Xiao, if you dare to talk nonsense anymore, I'll make sure you don't see the sunrise tomorrow." Hearing Chung Hao trying to act tough, Xiao felt even more like teasing him. Chung Hao got spooked and quickly grabbed Xiao in a tight hug. Just then, the maintenance workers swung the elevator doors open. Before leaving, Chung Hao forbade Xiao from telling anyone what happened. He was afraid of more bad luck, so he called a taxi instead of driving himself home. Xiao quickly hops into the taxi to escort her boss because she heard that taking a taxi at midnight is full of ghost stories. Chung Hao finally makes it home safely, still holding on to Zhao's toy. Outside, Xiao comes back to return Chung Hao's phone. She sees the gate is open and goes in to call for the CEO, but he is fast asleep on the couch, mumbling for her not to come near him. It turns out Chung Hao was dreaming about Xiao being a ghost scaring him. He opens his eyes, sees Xiao, and panics, pushing her to the floor. Xiao pulls the blanket down, causing Chung Hao to land right on top of her. They both scramble, and Xiao accidentally hits her head on the table and passes out. As a result, Chung Hao has to put ice on her head, but he still tries to act like the big boss. He warns her never to enter his house without permission. "Listen, Mr. CEO, you dropped your phone in the car. I was just being nice and returning it, and I saw your gate wide open." Just then, Zhao's stomach growls loudly. She says she's still growing and hasn't eaten anything yet because of all the overtime. Chung Hao has no choice but to go to the kitchen and make some noodles, telling her to eat quickly and go home. Xiao takes a bite, and surprisingly, even though the noodles look ugly, they don't taste bad. After she finishes eating, Chung Hao sets 3 rules for her. First, no messy hair. Second, no sharing cars. No sharing elevators. No using flashlights. And no wearing white. Third, do not take off this bracelet. Xiao wonders if he's treating her like a guard dog. The next day at work, Xiao ties her hair up neatly. She tells him she declined an invitation for him to attend an outstanding entrepreneur event. But Chung Hao remembers he declined the party last time, so this time he wants to make a different choice to change the outcome. Attending the Outstanding Entrepreneur Conference for the first time, the CEO of Lin Corporation attracts everyone's attention. Xiao nervously looks at a patch on Chung Hao's pants. It turns out the clothing store staff accidentally ripped his pants. Xiao heard the suit was custom-made, so she had to patch it up temporarily. She's scared that if Chung Hao puts his hands in his pockets, he'll find the hole. She rushes over to give him wine and tissues, trying everything to distract him. Right then, the organizers invite Chung Hao on stage to receive the Outstanding Entrepreneur of the Year award. Out of habit, he puts his hand in his pocket and realizes there is a large hole. He skillfully pulls his hand back and calmly continues his speech. Xiao is terrified that this time next year will be the anniversary of her death, so she has to run away before he makes his move. Chung Hao gets off the stage and happens to see a man with a scar who looks exactly like the diver on the yacht from before. He quickly chases him, but the guy's already changed clothes to escape easily. Chung Hao suddenly feels dizzy, just as Xiao passes by. He doesn't want to hear any explanations and demands that she get out of his sight immediately. Meeting Qingze, Chung Hao says he just saw the person who framed him. He hears that Qingze has to pick up his dad, so he urges his friend to go, so he isn't late. Meanwhile, Xiao wants to eat and drink her fill before she quits, but she drinks so much that she starts throwing up. Chung Hao happens to run into her and offers to take Lin Xiao home because he's worried the culprit might harm her too. Xiao asks, "Didn't you want me to disappear?" Chung Hao makes an excuse, saying that since he was the one who brought her there, he doesn't want her making a fool of herself. Near her home, Xiao accidentally sprains her ankle. She hears Chung Hao call out and thinks he's finally going to pay her contract severance. Chung Hao grabs her phone and bends down to carry her on his back. "Kid, stop giving me more trouble." "Uncle, do you actually have the strength to carry me up all these stairs?" "Lin Xiao, do you want me to drop you?" "Oh, big boss, little brother, handsome CEO, my bad. I'm sorry." Chung Hao warns Xiao not to drink when she's out to avoid meeting bad people and regretting it for the rest of her life. Xiao obediently agrees because she realizes Chung Hao's bark is worse than his bite. At her front door, Xiao happens to run into her aunt named Jinjun. Xiao introduces Chung Hao as her former boss. Jinjun wonders if Chung Hao is just her superior or a boyfriend using the boss title as a cover. She doesn't wait for him to finish explaining and pulls him inside for a drink. Chung Hao is nervous and keeps bumping into things, but the aunt thinks he's not bad, exactly the type of overbearing yet old-fashioned CEO. Jinjun hears that Chung Hao doesn't eat fruit with more than 2% sugar, so she tells her niece to take extra care of this diabetic patient. Chung Hao admits that Lin Xiao has some professional talent, and Jinjun immediately says she doesn't mind a nephew-in-law who is nearly her age. She asks Chung Hao about his zodiac sign, how many siblings he has, and how many past relationships he's had. Chung Hao thinks she is misunderstanding his relationship with Xiao. Jinjun questions if he gave her that bracelet or carried her home just because it was on the way. She advises the aging CEO to be more sincere when trying to win over a girl. She feels sorry for her niece who lost her parents at a young age and grew up with her, so she's still very naive. She doesn't ask for much, just a good husband for her niece. She whispers to her niece to put in the rest of the work. Xiao apologizes, saying her aunt is going through menopause. Xiao tells him that when she was 2, her mother died during a difficult childbirth. A few days later, their house burned down, and her father was gone too. Chung Hao encourages Xiao to turn the longing for her parents into motivation. He believes that in a parallel universe, they might be living happily together. Xiao didn't expect the CEO to have the same interests as her. She once read about a plane that disappeared for 30 years and suddenly reappeared, so she hopes her parents might come back for her too. Chung Hao tells a story about a friend who saved someone at sea. Just as he was about to die, he fell into a parallel space. Xiao thinks that if she had a chance like that, she would definitely work hard to change the outcome. But no matter what, she would still save the person in danger. If fate give you a choice, why be afraid of death? Xiao realizes she is touching Chung Hao's hand and quickly pulls it away. She gives him a book as a parting gift for her boss. In the car, Chung Hao remembers that his parents also passed away when he was little. But his grandfather wouldn't let him cry. He had to act like the sole heir of Lin Corporation. That was the last time Chung Hao shed a tear. But he still wants to dive into the waters where his parents died, hoping to see them again. Chung Hao knows Xiao is just like him, secretly missing them and crying through many nights. Guessing that Chung Hao hadn't eaten yet, Qingze came over to cook dinner for his best friend. He mentioned that the owner of the suit shop just called him to apologize. They were the ones who accidentally ripped the pants, and Xiao was just trying to save the situation. Chung Hao said Xiao was just like him, both losing their parents when they were young. He felt a bit guilty for always blaming everything on her. He texted Xiao to continue working as his assistant and told Qingze to make sure she didn't get too emotional or grateful toward him. Meanwhile, Xiao dreamed again of the man who saved her. She couldn't see his face clearly. She only remembered he wore a badge with the Lin Corporation logo. The next day, Tainan called Xiao to come to work. She said she had been fired, but he told her that HR hadn't received any notice. Xiao checked her messages and realized Chung Hao wanted her to stay on as his assistant. At Lin Corporation, Chung Hao searched the entire membership list of the diving club, but couldn't find the suspicious man. He guessed someone had set the guy up. So he told his private secretary, Haifeng, to investigate the safety of every piece of diving equipment. Xiao ran to the company like the wind and sighed in relief because she was only 1 minute late. However, Tynan reminded her of Lin Corporation's rule, not even a single second late. So she still had to pay a 3 yuan fine or clean the entire workspace by herself. When Xiao arrived, Chung Hao acted cold as usual. He introduced a top-tier coffee imported from Jamaica and urged her to make another cup. It turns out he wanted her to taste the coffee that only he had. He watched Xiao drink it all before letting her get to work. Seeing Xiao eating a snack later, Chung Hao told her to go buy food at a shop on the east side of town. He warned her not to call a delivery service to avoid ruining the taste. Xiao worked hard to bring the food back for her boss, only to find him already eating with Qingze. Chung Hao said that the shop only sells to members and that he was tired of the food, so he gave it to her instead. Qingze wondered if Chung Hao was being nice to Xiao. Chung Hao revealed that he even shared his coffee with her. Seeing Xiao so angry she was choking, Qingze apologized for his friend. He explained that when Chung Hao was a child, his parents died in an accident at sea. From then on, his grandfather always taught him to be the one to support the Lin Corporation. He lacks social skills and only knows how to give others what he thinks is good. Chung Hao loves diving, so every year he gives Qingze swimwear, because that's his only way of bringing others into his world. During the shareholders' meeting, Chung Hao looked at everyone. He had had friction with all of them before, but he didn't think they would harm him over small things. Shareholder Liu questioned Chung Hao, since they had already fully inspected the Blue Hole area. Why hadn't Saming Island opened yet? Chung Hao argued that the PR department could handle the news of the delay for more checks, but if Saming Island were truly unsafe, not even Lin Corporation could handle the fallout. Just then, Haifeng reported the latest inspection results. Chung Hao asked Du Zimo why all the diving equipment failed to meet the standards. While visiting his grandson, Mr. Lin urged Chung Hao to come and eat. He heard that Chung Hao was delaying the opening, which was putting a lot of pressure on the shareholders. But he thought Chung Hao shouldn't fire Du Zimo, because, after all, he is a relative of Qingze's family. Chung Hao remembers his grandfather teaching him that you can't be soft-hearted in the business world. Otherwise, even a single ant could eat away an entire building. Mr. Lin said that Chung Hao used to be too kind, but now that he knows how to be ruthless, he shouldn't be too extreme. Chung Hao felt that not pressing charges against Du Zimo was already merciful enough. Mr. Lin gave his grandson a choice. Either open the island immediately or get married. He had to pick one. The next day, Du Zimo burst in to see Chung Hao. He boasted about his contributions to Lin Corporation over the past 2 years, asking if he was really going to leave with nothing just because of one mistake in buying substandard diving gear. Chung Hao questioned him about how much he had pocketed in kickbacks since taking over the equipment department. He said he only turned a blind eye because of the Du family. However, diving equipment involves human lives and absolutely cannot be handled sloppily. He wondered if Zimo was intentionally doing bad things because he wanted someone to have an accident underwater. When checking the new diving gear, Xiao asked to try it out with her boss. Chung Hao disagreed, but Xiao had already put on her swimsuit. Chung Hao quickly pulled up Xiao's swimsuit and forbade her from going into the water. Chung Hao started the test dive, but the trauma from his past made him dizzy. Xiao saw Chung Hao surface and quickly urged Tainan to call for help. She grabbed a buoy and jumped in to save him. Chung Hao pulled Xiao back to the shore, and right then, he saw the man with the scar. The man saw many people coming and quickly left. Xiao urged Tainan to call an ambulance. She was so afraid he would drop dead that she cried while performing chest compressions. However, Chung Hao was still lingering in a happy dream with his parents. After his parents had their accident at sea, his grandfather forced him to become an expert diver. Finally, Chung Hao woke up. He saw the man with the scar pointing a stun gun at Xiao, but when he fully regained consciousness, he was lying in a hospital bed. Chung Hao saw Xiao offering him an apple and wondered why she hadn't called the doctor to check on him. He heard her yelling loudly for a doctor, so he just pressed the call button himself. Xiao said she rarely goes to hospitals, but Chung Hao thought she watched too many TV dramas. The doctor advised Chung how to get a full brain scan because a headache leading to dizziness is no small matter. However, as soon as the doctor left, Chung Hao demanded to be discharged. Xiao tried to stop him and planned to call and report it to Qingze. Chung Hao questioned her, asking if saving him once made her feel like she had accomplished some great mission. Back home, Chung Hao heard that Haifeng still hadn't identified the man with the scar. He told Haifeng to quietly keep an eye on everything around him. He had installed an infrared alarm system linked to the police, so his house was relatively safe. Chung Hao was certain the culprit was targeting him, and Lin Xiao just happened to be with him by chance. The next day at the office, Xiao noticed that nobody knew the CEO had been in an accident. She saw Qingze give her a reminder, so she brought some coffee to Cheng Hao. He suddenly thanked her, which caught her off guard, but she urged him not to give up on his treatment since it wasn't like he had a terminal illness. Cheng Hao told Xiao to stop talking because she was making his ears ring and ordered her to get back to work while he met with his best friend. Xiao grumbled that the boss was sick but refused to get help. Dan felt that Zhao's attitude toward Cheng Hao had changed a bit. Xiao set the record straight, saying she was his assistant. If Cheng Hao dropped dead, she would be the one who knew about his condition but didn't report it. Therefore, she had to find a way to save this middle-aged man in danger. Meanwhile, Cheng Hao changed the entire team in charge of the diving segment. Just then, he received news that Xiao had been in a car accident. He worriedly sped to the hospital, only to see she just had a tiny scratch. Cheng Hao questioned her, asking if she dared to gamble with her life. She insisted that someone had crashed their bicycle into her leg. The old man took the blame and begged Cheng Hao not to scold his poor granddaughter. Cheng Hao concluded that Xiao had deceived her superior and skipped work for no reason, so he docked half a month's pay. Xiao willingly accepted the punishment, as long as Cheng Hao took the opportunity to get a health checkup. Lin Xiao, are you actually plotting against me? CEO, I messed up. You are the backbone of Lin Corporation. If something happens to you, how are thousands of us, including me, supposed to make a living? Dad, please get a checkup. If you have a terminal illness, what am I going to do? Hearing Cheng Hao give in, Xiao called the doctor to take him for an exam. The doctor said Cheng Hao's health was normal and the dizziness was just due to high work pressure. Xiao didn't believe it, but Cheng Hao pushed her to go home. Seeing her niece watching health and wellness videos, Zhen guessed the diabetic boss was having a flare-up. Xiao mentioned that Cheng Hao had almost drowned and was hospitalized recently. He had no family to visit him and even hid his condition from his friends. Since Xiao went to the trouble of saving his life, she wanted him to live a little longer. Zhen sacrificed her treasures, some health supplements, for her niece to use to nourish her future boyfriend. The next day, Xiao specially brewed a health drink for her boss. She asked him if he felt his energy multiply after just one sip. When she heard Cheng Hao demand coffee, she told him she put a lot of effort into getting red ginseng extract for him. She advised him to quit coffee because it raises blood pressure and suggested switching to plant-based extracts instead. She also prepared a sports watch that could measure heart rate and blood pressure. Next time you're in danger, just press this button and it will immediately send an alert to my phone. Cheng Hao asked Xiao, are you in some kind of pyramid scheme? She clarified that these were all gifts she had prepared specifically for him. Cheng Hao felt a bit flustered, but a smile unconsciously played on the corners of his mouth. During work hours, Lin Xiao saw Cheng Hao's heart rate suddenly spike. It turned out he was scolding Yin Tainan so hard that he even took off his jacket. Even when Xiao was making coffee, she heard the alarm for his high heart rate, and she was even woken up by the sound when she was napping. In just one day, her phone rang dozens of times. In the middle of the night, Xiao was startled by an emergency alarm. She hurriedly contacted Cheng Hao, but he didn't pick up his phone. She sped over to Cheng Hao's house like the wind, but she still couldn't reach him. In bed, Cheng Hao's heart skipped a beat because of the alarm. He heard Zhao's frantic shouting and felt both relieved and angry. The security guard had turned off the anti-theft system, but hoped Cheng Hao would prepare a spare key for his family members. Xiao planned to slip away first, but Cheng Hao pinned her against the door, making her wonder if she was caught in a scene from a romance novel. Lin Xiao, are you a spy for another company, or did heaven send you to be my personal nightmare? CEO, I was just worried about you. Xiao, you have to stay at my house tonight. Xiao scrambled to escape, but accidentally slammed the door into Cheng Hao's head. Seeing his sharp gaze, she obediently stayed for the night. Because she wasn't used to the bed, Xiao tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. She looked at the dark circles under her eyes and could only sigh in frustration. Just then, Xiao heard a loud noise in the bathtub. She opened the curtain and saw Cheng Hao, remembering that he likes to sleep in the bathtub. Xiao, you really are the bane of my existence. Xiao ran so fast that she tripped and fell. Cheng Hao came out, helped Xiao sit on a chair, and massaged her foot for her. He went to get an ice pack to gently apply it to her foot. Their eyes accidentally met, and in that brief moment, both their hearts fluttered. Xiao unconsciously looked down at his wide pajama collar and swallowed hard. Cheng Hao told Xiao to keep icing her foot and said, if you still can't sleep, you might as well prepare the documents for tomorrow morning's meeting. She thought to herself, does an older guy like him actually get embarrassed? But she had no idea that he was actually the one who couldn't sleep a wink. It was because his heart was pounding, but not because of anger. Early in the morning, Cheng Hao greeted the sunrise. He ran along the shore while Xiao was still fast asleep. She didn't wake up until after he finished breakfast. Lin Xiao, why don't you sleep a bit more? Just wait until the meeting is over and then go straight to lunch. Hurry up and get dressed. and eat all the breakfast I went to the trouble of making. At the company, Chung Hao went to meet with the 3 contractors for the Saming Island project. You remember that last time? Manager Wang won the proposal. If he chose someone else this time, would it change the outcome? Chung Hao asked Xiao which proposal she was more impressed with. Xiao liked the romantic couple theme, and to her surprise, Chung Hao immediately chose it based on her preference. Just then, Chung Hao's ex-girlfriend, named Qin Jijun, suddenly appeared, and Xiao heard the alarm for Chung Hao's rapidly rising heart rate. Inviting Chung Hao to lunch, Jijun still remembered his habit of stirring his coffee spoon. She said she was divorced and had returned to the country 3 years ago to start a company. From a distance, Xiao watched them eating and chatting happily. She made a video call to Du Qingze to ask about the person next to Chung Hao. Qingze said she was his first love and also the only ex-girlfriend Chung Hao ever had. Xiao didn't think a millennium-old relic like him even knew how to date. Qingze said they fell in love at first sight back in college, but then a misunderstanding happened, and since neither of them would explain, they broke up. Xiao checked her phone, and sure enough, Chung Hao's heart rate was still high. Just then, a boy named Lin Lin ran up, complaining that the heart rate app had tricked his grandpa into buying a bunch of supplements. Xiao heard Lin Lin warn that eating ice cream in the heat leads to high blood pressure. His little old man vibe was exactly like Chung Hao's. So she imagined that years ago, after the breakup, Qin Jijun realized she was pregnant with Chung Hao's baby. When they met the mother, Lin Lin suddenly called Chung Hao dad. Xiao quickly supported the CEO, telling him to stay calm. She heard Chung Hao casually call himself uncle, so she guessed he didn't know Lin Lin's true identity. Back at the office, Xiao felt bad for President Qin raising a child on her own. Xiao had been an orphan since she was little and was raised by her aunt, so she knew it wasn't easy. So she advised Chung how to do something for the mother and son. Chung Hao questioned if Xiao was just bored and snooping into his past. Kid, what do you even know about adult stuff? Seeing Chung Hao's heart rate stay high since meeting his first love, Xiao hated how he was saying one thing but thinking another. She figured since they reunited, the father and son would eventually recognize each other, but for some reason, she felt uncomfortable. To Xiao, Chung Hao was like a warm breakfast that made her heart flutter without her even realizing it. However, Lin Lin had been waiting for a dad for a very long time. Meeting Jijun, Xiao wanted to confirm some parts of their collaboration. She asked President Qin if using a romantic theme for the Saming Island bid was because of some special memory from past. Jijun shared that she really loves playing the piano and getting flowers. Early the next morning, Xiao went to the boss's house. Chung Hao just stood outside to take the breakfast, having absolutely no intention of inviting her in. But Xiao said she had prepared something special for him. Chung Hao saw the maid gossiping, so he had to pull Xiao inside. As soon as she stepped through the door, Xiao accidentally pressed up against his chest. They were so close that they could both clearly feel each other's racing hearts. Chung Hao quickly pushed Xiao away and asked what on earth she was doing. Xiao brought a whole suitcase of clothes to pick an outfit for his meeting with Qin Jijun. She guaranteed that wearing a blue suit would make him look 10 years younger. Chung Hao gave in and agreed to try it on. While waiting for Chung Hao to come out, Xiao stared at him in a daze. She tried to calm herself down to put on his tie. Chung Hao felt his heart trembling, but then she tied it so tight he almost choked to death. Chung Hao didn't want Zhao's help anymore because he was extremely confident in his own appearance. When he went to pick up Qin Jijun, he heard that she had to bring her son along. Xiao volunteered to stay and watch Lin Lin, so the two bosses could discuss business easily. To suck up to Lin Lin, Xiao bought a lot of snacks, but the boy was just like Chung Hao and didn't like unhealthy food. Xiao ended up organizing a fighting game to get closer to the boy. Meanwhile, Chung Hao took Jijun to a restaurant for lunch. He saw the rows of flowers and balloons and immediately texted Xiao to ask what kind of prank she was playing. Jijun guessed that Xiao had asked about her interests on behalf of the boss last night. She thanked Chung Hao and then linked her arm with his as they went in for lunch. Jijun confessed that she really liked a childish and romantic version of Chung Hao like this. Just then, the sound of a piano started playing, making her feel even more nostalgic for the past. Jijun remembered Chung Hao once saying that her music always soothed him. Chung Hao, I'm bidding on the Saming Island project to help you achieve your dream from years ago. In the meantime, Xiao had successfully lulled Lin Lin to sleep. She checked her phone, but Chung Hao's heart rate was very stable. After Jijun gave him the green light, Chung Hao just shifted the conversation back to work. He couldn't even swallow a sip of his drink and asked the staff what they had mixed into it. The staff member said, Xiao specifically told us to add MSG to the drink. Chung Hao guessed she was daring to provoke him. When they got home, Jijun saw stuff scattered everywhere. Both Xiao and Lin Lin were fast asleep. Chung Hao couldn't wake Xiao up, so he threw her bag over his shoulder and carried her home. He promised himself that he would settle the score with Lin Xiao once she woke up. The next day, Xiao found herself waking up at Chung Hao's house. with his clothes sitting at the foot of the bed. Chung Hao claimed that the night before, he had accidentally drunk coke mixed with MSG and lost control of himself. Xiao couldn't believe that trick actually worked and called Chung Hao an animal. Lin Xiao, you slept at someone's house like a dead pig. I only picked you up and brought you here because I didn't want to lose face. I'm warning you, don't get any weird ideas. Just focus on preparing for the Somming Sea survey. Chung Hao, you clearly know where I live. Just then, Jinjin called and scolded her for not coming home all night. Xiao made an excuse that she stayed late for work and slept at the office. Jinjin called her out for lying because Chung Hao had just texted her saying Xiao was sleeping at his place. Reading the project plan, Xiao didn't want to have to hug Chung Hao in front of Qin Jijun. He told her to shut up and not ruin the important trial run. Just then, Jijun arrived to start the excursion. Chung Hao put Xiao in charge of testing all the ocean activities personally. He said he would decide whether to partner with Jijun based on Zhao's report. Xiao promised to do her best for the sake of Lin Lin and his mom's happiness. Jijun wondered why Chung Hao had to lie to Xiao. He simply called her a troublemaker. During her first time surfing, Xiao could only scream in despair. She ran back to shore in a towel, still trying to act like she was having a blast. Chung Hao said she looked like a mess and told her to just sit on the beach and learn from him. He took Jijun to change into swimwear to show Xiao how it's really done. Xiao watched the romantic scene she had helped set up, but she couldn't bring herself to be happy. She felt jealous of the memories they shared and sad about how well they got along now. At the final stop, Xiao thought about the surprise she had secretly arranged in the couple's suite. She faked a stomachache to ask for permission to leave early. Inside the room, glowing with candlelight, Jijun felt like she was back in her college days. She and Chung Hao sat on the grass looking at the stars, feeling as if nothing would ever change. Chung Hao saw Jijun undoing a string above her and rushed to shield her. But it turned out to be just a bunch of small balloons Xiao had prepared. Chung Hao, did you want to surprise me? Jijun was so moved she wanted to kiss him, but in that moment, Chung Hao only had Xiao on his mind. He quickly turned away and shifted the conversation back to work. Jijun mentioned that the original design didn't include a balloon surprise. Chung Hao realized then that Xiao had schemed against him again. After taking Jijun back to her hotel, Chung Hao told her to get some rest. He looked at a photo of Xiao, realizing her face had already snuck into his heart. The next day, Tainan gave Xiao a birthday gift. He revealed that every year, the CEO prepares a big gift for his assistant. Just then, Chung Hao passed by but avoided Xiao. Walking in his office, Chung Hao took a deep breath, trying to get his racing heart back on track. However, the image of kissing Xiao kept haunting his mind. He opened his eyes and was startled to see her face right in front of him. Xiao asked, "Does the CEO have something to say to me?" She told him not to keep it bottled up inside and to tell her so she could be happy too. Chung Hao asked if she was really that joyful knowing everything. "Lin Xiao, you don't need to worry about my love life." "Chung Hao, are you back with Qin Jijun?" Chung Hao angrily kicked her out to go organize some files. Seeing Chung Hao leave work early, Xiao blamed him for being too busy with his romance to remember her birthday. But she had no idea he had spent the whole afternoon stressing out in his best friend's office. Qingza asked, "Are you getting back with Jijun?" Chung Hao clarified that they only had 2 meals together, but when Jijun tried to kiss him, he imagined a different face. Meanwhile, Xiao went out to party with her friends. While heading to the bathroom, she accidentally caught Du Zimo selling Chung Hao's information. He discovered Xiao was filming him, so he forced her to come in and drink. Du Zimo remembered that Xiao was Chung Hao's assistant. She obediently pretended to delete all the videos and complained about how badly Chung Hao bullied her. Xiao tried to get away, but Du Zimo made her finish all the alcohol on the table. Xiao had to listen and secretly sent her location to Qingza. Hearing Xiao ask Qingza for help, Chung Hao asked if they were really that close. Qingza guessed that today was Zhao's birthday and wondered if she was getting drunk at a bar. Chung Hao wondered why he didn't know it was her birthday. Qingza said that up until now, Chung Hao couldn't even remember his own birthday. Chung Hao told Qingza to focus on work while he went to check on Xiao. At the bar, Du Zimo was pouring alcohol into Zhao's mouth when Chung Hao showed up just in time and punched the scumbag right in the face. He warned Du Zimo that if he didn't behave, he would definitely throw him in jail. Pulling Xiao outside, Chung Hao scolded her for being so young and daring to go to a nightclub to drink with people. Xiao burst into tears, which immediately made Chung Hao soften his tone. "Lin Xiao, I'm sorry I was a bit too harsh." Xiao giggled. It turned out the overbearing CEO was so easy to fool. Chung Hao got annoyed and told Xiao to sit still and wait for him. When Chung Hao returned, Xiao froze as a silhouette appeared in the light, making her heart skip a beat. But he coldly threw a makeup kit at her and made her remove her makeup in public. "Chung Hao, you have no right to control me like this." Chung Hao pushed Xiao down into the chair and forced her to wipe off the thick layers of powder on her face. He wondered why a pure girl liked to dress up like a demon. Xiao, on the other hand, felt like Cheng Hao was like a kind father. Lin Xiao, I'm only 10 years older than you. Uncle, you're not old. You're super handsome. Cheng Hao asked why she didn't text him when she was in danger. Xiao said she was so panicked that she messaged Qingze by mistake. Hearing that he remembered it was her birthday, she expected a big gift. To her surprise, Cheng Hao only managed to buy a lollipop. He thought the meaning behind the gift was what mattered, so he wished her a life as sweet as the candy. Back home, Xiao tasted the sweet lollipop, but when she read the news about Cheng Hao being with Jijun, she couldn't swallow the sweetness anymore. Meanwhile, Heifeng came to report to Cheng Hao. He said he was still secretly watching over the boss, but hadn't found anyone suspicious. However, he just saw a man following Cheng Hao back to Zhao's house. Additionally, the man had appeared the last 2 times Xiao was around. Cheng Hao told Heifeng to protect Xiao secretly. He wanted to see what they were really after. After reading the news, Mr. Lin paid a special visit to Cheng Hao. He had asked Xiao to invite Jijun and her son over. He was overjoyed to meet Lin, thinking the boy was his great-grandson. Cheng Hao asked Xiao what was going on, but she just congratulated him on his double celebration. During dinner, Mr. Lin prepared all the dishes that Jijun and her son liked. Xiao felt a bit awkward, but Cheng Hao kept her there for the meal. He asked his grandfather if he had heard some wrong information. Mr. Lin taught his grandson that as an adult, he must never run away from his responsibilities. Just then, Lin asked Xiao to take him to the bathroom, but the boy just used it as an excuse to go somewhere else so the adults could talk freely. Lin knew his mom wasn't right for Cheng Hao, and he also knew he wasn't Cheng Hao's son. On the other side, Jijun also told Cheng Hao that Lin wasn't his. She had married someone else and had Lin after they broke up. Mr. Lin accepted the truth, but he asked if there was any chance the two of them could get back together. Jijun said they only had a professional relationship now, and things couldn't go back to the way they were. After seeing Jijun and Lin off, Xiao also planned to slip away. Cheng Hao made Xiao stay, reminding her that she was his person. Boss, my bad. Kid, there's no chance of me and Jijun getting back together. Tell Grandpa that if he wants to help them, he should keep some boundaries. The next day at work, Xiao heard everyone gossiping about Cheng Hao being in love with Jijun. Some tabloids even wrote that Cheng Hao made things hard for Du Zimo just to give his girlfriend a chance to win the Saming Island project bid. Meeting with Cheng Hao, Xiao asked if he didn't want to clear the air. Cheng Hao thought that random rumors would keep growing, but in the end, it all comes down to what we actually do. Xiao revealed a recording of Du Zimo plotting with a reporter. Kid, did you seriously risk drinking with Du Zimo at the club just to get me evidence? Xiao knew the recording didn't have a lot of info, but it proved Du Zimo hired a reporter to spread rumors and smear Cheng Hao. Lin Xiao, I'm not letting you do something that dangerous ever again. I'll give you a day off as a birthday gift. Right then, Jijun came by to say goodbye to Xiao. She had finished handing over the project and was taking her son back to Shanghai. She gave Xiao a letter on behalf of Lin. The boy was trying to set up Xiao with Cheng Hao because he felt they were a perfect match, calling his best friend for fashion advice. Cheng Hao wanted to pick an outfit that was simple but youthful. Qingze wondered, are you throwing a late birthday party for Xiao? Cheng Hao used the excuse that since Xiao did a good job, he was just giving out employee benefits. Qingze asked point blank, wait, do you actually like Xiao? Cheng Hao flatly denied it, saying he would never like a kid. On her day off, Cheng Hao called Xiao to celebrate her late birthday. Xiao started to get excited, but unexpectedly, Cheng Hao took her to look at a quiet lake. He said it took him all night to find this park. We can go boating, fishing, and look at the flowers once in a while. Xiao regretted the effort she put into her face mask and the time she spent on her natural makeup look. Cheng Hao saw Xiao excitedly buying cotton candy, so he thought she really liked the place. He saw a sign showing couples sharing cotton candy and suddenly felt a bit nervous and expectant. Kid, you only bought one? He saw some candy stuck to the corner of Zhao's mouth and reached out to wipe it off. It was an unconscious gesture, but it was incredibly tender. Xiao was a bit flustered and asked the boss to teach her how to eat more gracefully. Cheng Hao rolled up a piece of candy and fed it to Xiao. His fingertips lightly touched her lips, and the warmth between them made them both freeze. Their heartbeats quietly went off track. The candy had melted, but the feeling of excitement wouldn't stop. While waiting for the fish to bite, Xiao looked at Cheng Hao's profile and sighed, wondering if she was fishing or if the fish was fishing for her. Cheng Hao told her the fish were about to eat all her bait, but she didn't want to pull the rod because she was fishing with her thoughts. Right after Xiao finished speaking, she drifted off to sleep. In the sunlight, Xiao opened her eyes to see Cheng Hao's hand shielding her face. Just then, his phone vibrated, alerting that Cheng Hao's heart rate was spiking. He was a bit embarrassed and quickly told her to pack up. After taking Xiao home, Cheng Hao gave her the bucket of fish. wishing her a prosperous year and telling her she could steam or grill them however she liked. As Chung Hao turned to leave, he felt like someone was following them. He called to confirm Haifeng was still on guard nearby before he felt safe enough to leave. Back in her room, Xiao lingered on the fluttering feelings she had while with Chung Hao. She admitted he was actually quite cute when he was being easygoing. Downstairs, the man with the scar named Huang to sneak through the back door of the apartment building. Haifeng was guarding the front, so he didn't notice him. Huang broke into Zhao's home to find something. He looked at a photo of Zhao's parents and took something from her handbag. Meanwhile, Chung Hao still felt uneasy. He called Haifeng, but the guy had left his phone in the car. Haifeng spotted Huang coming out of the front door and quickly chased after him. They fought for a bit, but Haifeng was no match for Huang. Since he couldn't reach Haifeng or Xiao, Chung Hao rushed over to her place. He saw all the drawers were open, but Xiao didn't notice anything valuable missing. Chung Hao called the police to have them check the security cameras nearby. He promised to send someone to change the locks tomorrow morning. However, Zhan was still shaking with fear, so she asked Chung Hao to stay and protect her and her niece. Xiao tried to stop her, but surprisingly, Chung Hao agreed right away. Zhan clumsily spilled water on the sofa and then urged her niece to quickly get a room ready for the CEO. She suddenly remembered she had a business trip tomorrow, so she needed to sleep alone in peace tonight. Xiao had to run to her room and get the largest set of pajamas for Chung Hao. He looked at the silk pajamas, which had cute and funny prints on them. Xiao tried to hold back her laughter while complimenting the CEO, saying he looked good in anything. Chung Hao believed her and stood up tall with confidence. She invited him to sleep on the floor and climbed straight onto the bed. Chung Hao, good night. Chung Hao tried to pull down the short shirt so his back wouldn't be exposed while he lay down. Back at his boss's place, Huang reported that he found a USB drive in Zhao's bag. When the morning sun shone through the window, Chung Hao opened his eyes to see the girl in his arms. He shyly wanted to touch her fingers. Just then, the phone rang and Xiao was startled, rolling right into Chung Hao's embrace. She quickly sat up while he heard the news that Saming Island was facing a complaint. When Chung Hao arrived at the company, Qingze reported that someone had filed a complaint about the fire safety system not being up to standard. Furthermore, Lin Corporation was accused of using land illegally. They provided very specific data, so Qingze suspected an internal leak. Chung Hao remembered he only gave a copy of the confidential files to one person. Du Zhongshu believed that besides Chung Hao, Xiao had the most contact with confidential documents. Chung Hao took the opportunity when Xiao brought in coffee to state plainly that he suspected a leak within the company. He suddenly remembered Zhao's home was broken into last night, but nothing valuable was taken. He urged her to find a USB containing the data copies. But outside, someone had secretly placed the USB on Zhao's desk. Du Zhongshu saw Xiao still holding the USB and immediately accused her of leaking information. However, Chung Hao knew the real culprit was someone else, someone very close to him. Just then, Du Zhongshu received a notice for a board meeting. He reminded Chung Hao to get ready to give him an answer. Meeting with the shareholders, Chung Hao heard they wanted to replace him. Chung Hao questioned whether the stock price would go back up after he left the seat. Lin Corporation was facing a major crisis. The Saming Island project wasn't just under a simple investigation. So who was willing to take his place at the center of the storm? He guaranteed that after the island opened, if the stock price didn't rise, he would give up half of his shares. Outside, Xiao heard others gossiping about her. She reminded them not to throw mud without real evidence. Just then, Chung Hao walked out and scolded them, asking if they were getting paid just to argue. He admitted the information leak had a big impact on the company. But Lin Corporation always followed procedure, so no one was allowed to spread baseless rumors. Going out for some fresh air, Xiao cried out of frustration. Chung Hao came to comfort her, trusting that she didn't reveal company secrets. She just felt a bit wronged, but was worried he'd have a hard time dealing with the board. Kid, don't worry. I'm more than capable of handling those old guys who love to talk behind people's backs. Chung Hao, no matter what, I'm on your side. Chung Hao secretly wondered if Xiao would still stay by his side if she knew he was the reason she was being targeted. After working late, Xiao finally remembered she hadn't eaten dinner yet. She guessed that Chung Hao was alone and probably hungry too. She planned to drop off some documents and bring him some food. Meanwhile, Qingze asked Chung Hao if he was upset all day because of the plan to restart the project or because he was worried about Lin Xiao. He blamed his best friend for being stubborn and refusing to admit he liked her. Chung Hao flusteredly corrected him, saying he only saw Xiao as a kid who just caused trouble. Xiao stood outside and heard everything, then left in disappointment. Qingze advised Chung Hao that if he didn't like Xiao, he should send her on a business trip or give her some time off to avoid this sensitive period. After seeing Qingze off, Chung Hao saw the documents and the dinner at the gate. He guessed Xiao hadn't gone far and frantically chased after her. But he stopped and didn't dare take another step toward her. He knew that if she stayed by his side, it would only make things more dangerous for her. The next day at the office, Xiao saw that there was already breakfast on Cheng Hao's desk. It turned out he had called his old assistant back. He said he needed to give the shareholders an answer about the information leak. Since everyone suspected Xiao, he gave her the choice to either resign or be fired. Cheng Hao, didn't you say you trusted me? Kid, I trust you, but people will talk behind our backs if I'm too lenient with you. I'll give you 100,000 yuan as a severance package. CEO, I didn't care what others thought, but since you find me troublesome, I'll quit on my own. Watching Xiao pack her things, Tainan could only tell her to take care. Xiao didn't expect that, after such a short time working there, she would miss the place so much. After she left, Qingza worried she would fall apart. Xiaolon thought that since Xiao was taking the blame for leaking trade secrets, it would be very hard for her to find another job. Cheng Hao felt very uneasy and blamed them for not telling him sooner, as he hadn't thought about those things himself. He looked at the current job requirements for assistants, which required being able to read accounting books, being an expert in tea ceremonies, and even graduating from Harvard. He didn't expect the competition for talent to be so fierce, and feared the stain on her record would follow Xiao forever. Meanwhile, Xiao felt someone was following her. Haifeng heard Xiao threatening to call the police, so he had to show his face. He introduced himself as the CEO's private secretary and explained that because Cheng Hao wanted extra security to protect Xiao, they were easily spotted. Xiao guessed Cheng Hao fired her because he was afraid someone was targeting her. Haifeng asked Xiao to keep it a secret that the team was spotted and then told the guys to get back to their positions. Seeking out Qingza, Cheng Hao asked his friend to read a recommendation letter for Xiao. Qingza advised his friend to show more sincerity by delivering it to her house personally. Cheng Hao came up with an excuse: the CEO visiting a poor employee. Bursting into Zhao's house, Cheng Hao said he came specifically to give out benefits. Even though she had quit, she was still included. Cheng Hao called people in to replace all the appliances in Zhao's house. He told her not to order takeout anymore. Cooking with an electric stove would save her time and energy. He wanted to show her how to use it, but forgot he had already moved the old fridge that had the food inside. He reached for some water to cook noodles, unintentionally making her heart flutter. Just then, the power suddenly went out. Cheng Hao stepped back in fear, and Xiao caught him instinctively. She guessed the new equipment used too much power, so she took him to check the circuit breaker. In the end, they both ate cold noodles by candlelight. Lin Xiao, I know I always made things hard for you at work, but over time, I found that besides being reckless and having a low IQ, you also have moments where you shine. So whatever you do, don't let being fired keep you down. Take this recommendation letter I wrote myself to find a job and pay your bills. Xiao commented that the CEO's words weren't sincere. Enough. She said he should add some highlights, like her being smart, sharp, and very detail-oriented. Kid, are you giving me orders? Just then, the lights suddenly popped back on, and they both accidentally blew out the candle in front of them at the same time. The distance between them narrowed, and their breathing mingled, making their hearts skip a beat. The thought of kissing her lips had just started to flare up, but then Haifeng reported that the power issue was fixed. Cheng Hao told Xiao to get some rest, as Haifeng's team was guarding the outside. With 62 hours left until the island's opening, everyone at Lin Corporation was busy finishing the final preparations. Qingza urged Cheng Hao to go get some rest, but Cheng Hao had to stay to handle the inspections. Meanwhile, Xiao motivated herself by thinking that even though she was fired, she got a 100,000 yuan allowance. She planned to travel and relax, and coincidentally saw an ad for Saming Island. She guessed that as the former assistant to the CEO, she would definitely get a room with a pool. On opening day, Saming Island was bustling as it welcomed tourists for vacation and ocean activities. Cheng Hao went on stage to say a few words on behalf of the Lin Corporation. He said the country has the most beautiful coastline, but never had an international-level island. 20 years ago, a young man leased the land of Sanming with the goal of developing it into a world-famous island. That man was the previous CEO of Lin Corporation, and also Cheng Hao's father. He hoped that in the future, Sanming Island would become the pearl of the South China Sea. Meeting Cheng Hao, Qingza asked why he canceled the live stream diving segment. He remembered Cheng Hao wanted to turn the Blue Hole into a diving mecca, which is why he organized that segment. Cheng Hao made an excuse that it was a hassle, but in reality, he wanted to avoid the previous tragedy. Just then, he saw Xiao on the island. Kid, what are you doing here? Xiao said she just received her 100,000 yuan allowance and came to support her old boss. Cheng Hao carried Xiao to the shore, absolutely forbidding her from going into the sea, but Xiao refused to leave and hugged Cheng Hao's leg tightly. He had to ask the security guards to peel Xiao off and then try to kick her off Saming Island. Gathering all the diving staff, Cheng Hao told everyone to do their best to keep the divers safe. He wanted to see what kind of trick Scarface would try this time. Just then, he caught Xiao pretending to be a Thai person. Kid, stop acting. Even if you painted your face like a ghost, I'd still recognize you. Xiao scrambled to run away, but unexpectedly tripped and fell to the ground. Cheng Hao couldn't help but laugh, while she could only burst into tears. Cheng Hao, I clearly didn't leak any trade secrets. So why do you keep trying to chase me away? Be a good kid. You can play any game except diving, and besides, I'll play with you. Xiao was afraid Cheng Hao would change his mind, so she stuck close to him. Instead of diving, Cheng Hao took Xiao out to catch the sea breeze. They went to an island belonging to Sanming. Because of its ancient trees and many rare birds, it wasn't developed. Cheng Hao urged Xiao to wear a hat, but she said it was ugly. Right after she spoke, a bird pooped on her face. Cheng Hao gently wiped it off for Xiao, making her heart race. Uncle, you're as childish as a 12-year-old boy. In the golden sunlight, Cheng Hao suddenly remembered the moment he almost touched Xiao's lips. He walked behind her, quietly shading her with the hat. Xiao saw Cheng Hao taking off his shirt and called him a pervert. Kid, you were so excited to see the diving instructor's muscles earlier. Don't you want to look at my body now? I'm going into the sea to catch some seafood for you. Sitting on the shore, Lin Xiao watched Cheng Hao's strong physique. His silhouette looked like a man born from the ocean, making her heart flutter. Watching Cheng Hao show off his grilling skills, Xiao was excited to taste it. Unexpectedly, she opened her mouth, but he didn't feed her. Annoyed, Xiao shook a soda can really hard. She invited the boss to drink it to level up the flavor, laughing at how easy he was to fool. You annoying brat. How dare you tease me? Cheng Hao chased Xiao on the sunny beach. Their laughter blended with the waves. Their carefree steps pulled them both into a sweet, playful moment amidst the brilliant golden glow of the sea and sky. After losing themselves in the beauty of the ocean, Xiao urged Cheng Hao to head back. But he suddenly grabbed the hand of the girl he liked, pulling her along for a slow stroll on the white sand. When it was time to leave, Cheng Hao realized the boat was broken. Since they were on a remote island, both of their phones had no signal. Cheng Hao thought they would have to stay overnight. And once Qingzi realized he was missing, he would send a search party. Sitting in the middle of a deserted island at night, Xiao was afraid that strange creatures would appear. Cheng Hao insisted there were no strange creatures, only wolves, wild foxes, and boars. Xiao clung tightly to Cheng Hao's arm, but still talked tough, saying, I'm not scared. He urged her to look at the stars soon, or she wouldn't see them once they were back in the city. Xiao stood up to get a better look, but she accidentally fell into Cheng Hao's arms. At a distance so close she could clearly feel his breath, her heart trembled, and a bold thought suddenly urged her to touch those lips. As a result, Cheng Hao shut down Zhao's out-of-control idea. Old man, you deserve to be single for 3,000 years. Kid, shut up and sit there for me. Cheng Hao, I'm sorry. If you don't let go, I'll become a tasty snack for the wolves. Xiao stopped begging and revealed that her house used to be on Sanming Island. After her parents died, Xiao moved to the city with her aunt. Xiao didn't remember much from her childhood, only that her parents' ashes were scattered here. Cheng Hao saw that Xiao was a lot like him, both having no parents around, but Xiao believed there were still many people who loved them. Cheng Hao had his grandfather and Qingzi, plus a kind assistant like her. Cheng Hao lectured Xiao on how to be a girl, saying she shouldn't keep staring at handsome guys. He said she was like a little lamb in a vast meadow. If the things around her weren't foxes, they were wolves. So Xiao was only allowed to stay with him, the old sheep protecting her. Papa Sheep, please let me go. Early in the morning, Xiao woke up to the sound of the waves. She gazed at Cheng Hao's face, seeing the crow's feet clearly at the corners of his eyes. Cheng Hao suddenly turned over and accidentally touched Zhao's lips. The emotions in both of their hearts exploded like waves crashing against the shore. Xiao rushed to explain, but Cheng Hao said even if she jumped into the sea, she couldn't wash this away. Just then, Heifeng brought a team to pick up the CEO. He remembered there was a wireless signal button on the boat that could call the city security center for help. Cheng Hao pretended the button was broken and pulled Xiao onto the boat. Back at the hotel, Cheng Hao booked a luxury room for Xiao. He told her to rest for a bit and then have dinner with him. Xiao wondered to herself why he was suddenly treating her so specially. Kid, stop dazing off and go to bed. Cheng Hao's pat on her head made Xiao clearly feel the tenderness he rarely showed. Entering the luxury room, Xiao felt like she had been there once before. She jumped onto the cozy bed, but her mind was still stuck on that kiss with Cheng Hao. She had wanted to save her first kiss for a cool young guy. So how did it end up with an uncle who's over 10 years older? Yet, why was her heart racing like crazy? Meanwhile, Qingzi heard that his best friend stayed overnight on the island. He remembered that besides a phone, Cheng Hao had 3 other ways to call for help. Qingzi wondered, was it really that hard for Cheng Hao to admit he liked someone? Cheng Hao admitted that after Xiao left the company, he realized he had fallen for her. Qingzi didn't expect a girl born after the year 2000 to win over a stiff king of hell like Cheng Hao. Going to find Xiao, Cheng Hao didn't see her open the door. he suddenly felt uneasy and rushed to get a room card. He called Hafen, but the guy confirmed Xiao had never left the hotel. Cheng Hao used the card to unlock the room and frantically searched for Xiao. He threw open the bathroom door, only to find she wasn't wearing anything. Xiao's piercing scream echoed across Saming Island. Cheng Hao shyly invited Xiao to dinner. However, she wasn't going to let him off that easily. Xiao told the server to open 3 of the most expensive bottles of wine in the hotel. Cheng Hao told the staff to give Xiao whatever she wanted, while he still didn't dare look directly into her sharp gaze. Outside, someone secretly dropped a drug into the wine carafe. Inside the room, Cheng Hao did his best to serve Xiao. She complained the hotel service was slow, but he didn't dare say a word back. Just then, the staff wheeled in the wine. Cheng Hao urged them to open the wine quickly to treat Miss Bai well. He heard she wanted a drink by the pool, so he quickly opened the door for her. Cheng Hao remembered that in a parallel world, he also met Xiao here. She congratulated him on the successful opening of Saming Island, fulfilling his parents' final wish. She drained a second glass to wish him happiness every day. Kid, why don't you change your name to Happy Bai? You're laughing all day long. Meanwhile, Huangde started his move. He took down the bodyguards around the hotel and had his henchmen surround Hafen. Over here, Qingze discovered his father was tracking Cheng Hao. After getting drunk, Xiao called Cheng Hao dad. He quickly corrected her, saying he was only 10 years older than her. Boss, I'm not your assistant anymore. So why are you still treating me so well? Cheng Hao, you like me, don't you? Cheng Hao denied it, but his body couldn't lie. He quickly set his wine glass on the table to hide his hand, which was shaking with nerves. Xiao walked up to Cheng Hao, wanting to take back her sweet first kiss, but she was so drunk that she fell right into his arms. Cheng Hao remembered they only had a few glasses. Why did they both feel dizzy? Sure enough, Huangde had drugged the wine. Cheng Hao questioned who hired Huangde, but the man lunged at him. Cheng Hao pinned Huangde down, but the man quickly kicked him into the pool. Cheng Hao tried to get away from Huangde's grip to wake Xiao up. Unexpectedly, from behind, Du Zimo used a stun gun on him. Over here, Du Zhongshu also tied up Qingze. He promised to make it up to his son by putting him in Cheng Hao's place. After escaping the ambush, Hafen tried to press the warning button. Du Zhongshu's henchmen quickly reported that the police were on their way to Saming Island. Waking up on the boat, Cheng Hao asked Du Zimo who he was working for. Du Zimo claimed that everything was his own masterpiece. Lin Xiao bit Du Zimo's hand hard, refusing to let anyone bully Cheng Hao. Huangde threatened Xiao, trying to force her to hand over her late father's old USB drive. Du Zimo didn't understand what USB he was talking about and wondered if Huangde had a separate mission. Cheng Hao quickly claimed that he was the one holding Zhao's father's USB. Just then, Huangde received an order saying they no longer needed the USB. Cheng Hao, save me. Xiao, don't be afraid. If there's a next time, I'll definitely hold on to you tight. Du Zimo decided to help the lovebirds reach the afterlife together. Cheng Hao saw Huangde throw Xiao into the sea and immediately dove in after her. He wrapped his arms tightly around Xiao to share his oxygen with her. Cheng Hao tried to bring Xiao to the surface, but Huangde was determined to finish them off. He tried to swim away, but was caught in the whirlpool once again. Right at that moment, the comet streaked past Earth. Sure enough, Cheng Hao found himself back on the day of the streamer recruitment once more. He immediately went to find Xiao and accidentally bumped into her in front of the restroom. Cheng Hao quickly supported Xiao and felt relieved when he heard the Lingdingyang Island advertisement playing. He didn't hesitate for a second and firmly kissed her lips. Xiao, don't be afraid, I'm back. To his surprise, Xiao slapped Cheng Hao right in the face. You old man, how dare you kiss me? You perverted creep. Cheng Hao remembered pulling Xiao into the blue hole. Why did she forget everything? Xiao felt like her life was totally over after realizing she had just slapped the CEO. Unlike last time, Tainan wanted to vent his anger for the CEO. He criticized her for having too few fans and no talent. But Cheng Hao argued that they could train her because nobody is born knowing everything. Cheng Hao praised Xiao for being beautiful, cute, smart, and kind. So, he wanted to hire her as the tourism ambassador for Saming Island. Kid, are you in? Cheng Hao waited for Xiao to nod and immediately placed the contract in front of her. Xiao warned the CEO not to go back on his word, or he'd have to pay 3 times the compensation. Don't worry, kid. I never go back on my word. Tainan watched the CEO chase after Xiao and doubted that any of this was real. Xiao was afraid Cheng Hao would change his mind, so she tried to walk away as fast as she could. Just like before, she accidentally bumped into Qingze. Cheng Hao remembered that Xiao used to have a crush on Qingze, so he pulled her toward himself. Xiao warned the CEO that if he kept putting his hands on her, she would definitely call the police. He praised her for knowing how to protect herself, saying it made him feel at ease. Cheng Hao apologized for being out of line, saying Xiao looked exactly like his late girlfriend. seeing Xiao avoid him. Cheng Hao could only sigh at how fate was playing games with them. Back home, Cheng Hao waited for Xiao to accept his friend request. He looked at Xiao's childhood photos and saw that she was both smart and cute. Cheng Hao suddenly remembered the man with the scar wanted to find Zhao's father's old USB. Coincidentally, Xiao had mentioned her family once lived on Saming Island. Cheng Hao suspected that Zhao's father was connected to Lin Corporation. After becoming the tourism ambassador for Saming Island, Zhao's image appeared all over Lin Corporation. Tina mentioned that the CEO had specifically built a private live streaming space for Xiao, but she was afraid that getting so much special treatment would make others jealous. Tynan told her that she just needed to prove her talent was worth the priority she was receiving. Cheng Hao ordered Haifeng to investigate Lin Zhao's father. He wanted to add more bodyguards to protect both himself and her. He hoped Haifeng wouldn't let him die again this time. Outside, he saw Xiao choking on some water and quickly stopped Qingzi from touching her. Cheng Hao asked Qingzi, "Do you have feelings for Xiao?" Hearing Qingzi say no, he agreed to help block this romantic interest for his friend. He told Qingzi to stay as far away from Xiao as possible. Cheng Hao breathed a sigh of relief because he had dealt with his toughest rival. Xiao invited the CEO to have some 63-degree coffee with no milk or sugar. He asked her how she knew he only drank his coffee at exactly 63 degrees. Xiao claimed she just guessed, but she had made it exactly the way he liked it. While watching Zhao's livestream, Cheng Hao heard she was going to eat all the local specialties on the table. He was worried she would get indigestion, so he told Tainan to stop the livestream immediately. Cheng Hao saw Xiao wearing a bikini and singing, so he rushed in and pulled her out. Back in the office, Cheng Hao said she didn't need to degrade herself, but she felt she was just doing her job as a streamer. "Kid, you shouldn't call other people honey or love. Anyway, from now on, you aren't allowed to wear revealing dresses during live streams. If anyone gets out of line, just kick them right out of the room." Xiao wanted to be worthy of the tourism ambassador title, but Cheng Hao offered to buy fake data to boost her name. Xiao turned and walked away, making Cheng Hao worry that she hated him again. The next day, Xiao continued her live stream, but called her fans brothers. Cheng Hao playfully scolded her for finding a loophole in his ban and for not letting the company buy fake data. For her, he kept sending her gifts to cheer her up, but when Xiao saw the account name was Cheng Hao, she quickly shut down the stream. Since they happened to be working overtime together, Cheng Hao told Xiao to take the stairs because the elevator was about to lose power. Xiao stayed on guard and told the boss not to overstep just because he sent gifts. Cheng Hao insisted the power would go out and pulled her toward the stairs. Xiao didn't have the strength to keep walking, so she asked to take the elevator as far as they could go. Cheng Hao bent down and pulled Xiao onto his back, carrying her just like before. He felt her arms tightening around him, and suddenly all his exhaustion vanished. Finally, Cheng Hao carried Xiao down to the first floor. He was about to collapse, but tried to act like he was okay. Just then, Tynan ran up and asked why the CEO didn't use the elevator. Xiao heard that the power never went out and felt that Cheng Hao was being very weird. After helping her boss all the way home, Xiao asked for permission to leave. Cheng Hao quickly grabbed her hand and pretended to be dizzy and nauseous. He said he needed a glass of cold water to help him clear his head. Cheng Hao remembered that last time, Xiao noticed his chest muscles. He immediately took off his jacket and even unbuttoned a few more buttons on his shirt. But this time, Xiao just thought he was being weird. Cheng Hao intentionally acted like he couldn't hold the glass to get closer to Xiao. He tremblingly spilled the water on himself, forcing her to touch his chest. Cheng Hao suddenly gripped Xiao's hand tightly and pinned her down on the sofa. Surprisingly, Xiao wasn't interested and even scolded him for trying to grope her. "Lin Xiao, you're the one who spilled water on me and used a tissue to feel all over my chest. I got news about the elevator power cut, which is why I told you to take the stairs, but you were out of shape and made me carry you for more than 2 floors. Plus, you voluntarily brought me home. Cheng Hao, it's because you treated me so specially that I thought you fell in love with me at first sight." Cheng Hao smiled shyly, silently admitting his feelings for Xiao. She remembered he kissed her the first time they met and kept creating chances for physical contact. Cheng Hao thought to himself that it was time to confess, but Xiao said the age gap between them was too big, and specifically that she wasn't good enough for the CEO of Lin Corporation. "Kid, you're overthinking it. You just look like a late friend of mine." Xiao thanked Cheng Hao's late friend and quickly ran away. Cheng Hao felt deeply hurt, wondering if he had just been rejected. Back home, Xiao didn't understand why she kept dreaming about being with Cheng Hao. Moreover, everything felt like it had actually happened. Xiao looked it up online, and someone explained that a space-time tunnel collision caused her to have memories of a parallel world. She wondered if she had loved him in another timeline. The next day, Cheng Hao heard that the entrepreneur conference sent an invitation. He agreed to go and told Xiao Lan to prepare a gown for Xiao. He wanted to catch the scar-faced man at the party, so he had to let Xiao take a risk for once. At the party, Chung Hao publicly held Zhao's hand in front of everyone. She suddenly felt that his side profile was very handsome, not like an old-fashioned uncle at all. Chung Hao looked around once and told Xiao to stay close to him. Just then, the organizers invited Chung Hao up to receive the Most Valuable Enterprise of the Year award. Chung Hao pulled Xiao up onto the stage with him to speak in front of the media. Throughout the party, he wouldn't let her leave his side even for a second. Chung Hao saw that Xiao wanted to eat some cake, so he fed her himself. "Kid, if you like eating sweets, I'll tell Tainan to prepare more in the live stream room from now on." The dangerous time had passed, but Chung Hao still hadn't spotted the reporter with the scar on his face. He wiped his sweat on his shirt and continued to interlock his hand tightly with Zhao's. Just then, the organizers invited the CEO's couple to take the lead dance. Xiao was worried because she had never danced before. "Don't worry, Xiao. I'll teach you." Chung Hao led Xiao to the middle of the dance floor and softly told her to step on his feet. They moved together with the melodic music. Xiao unconsciously lost herself in Chung Hao's gentle gaze, as if they were lost in a world where only the two of them existed. From a distance, Huangda was disguised as a server. It turned out he was also sucked into the whirlpool under the sea and remembered everything that had happened. As the party ended, Lin Xiao shyly looked at Chung Hao. He had prepared a comfortable pair of sandals for her to change out of her high heels. He saw her into the car and told Haifeng to drive carefully. Before leaving, Xiao asked Haifeng, "Is the CEO always this thoughtful?" Haifeng just said, "The CEO is known as the King of Hell." Haifeng guessed that Xiao was very special to him. As Xiao was about to walk up the stairs, she suddenly saw a vision of Chung Hao carrying her home. She told herself to wake up and not to imagine cheesy romance movie scenes just because of a pair of shoes. The next day, Chung Hao heard a report from Xiaolon. She had transferred the purchase of new equipment to Du Qingze. Additionally, as Chung Hao ordered, Du Zimo kept his position. Chung Hao wondered if the live stream room needed him to go over and help. Xiaolon understood what he meant and said she planned to buy milk tea to treat everyone for filming hard all day. Sure enough, Chung Hao took over the assistant's task. After hesitating for a long while, Chung Hao decided to leave the milk tea outside the door. Right then, Qin Jijun returned. She remembered that when they were dating in college, she had never seen him do something so childish. Jijun advised Chung how to be less stubborn. If you like someone, you should just say it. She said young girls don't like an uncle who acts all cold, and if he finds someone who fits his heart, you shouldn't let her go. Meanwhile, Xiao urged everyone to drink the milk tea, but Yin Tainan recognized the CEO's handwriting and didn't dare drink a single sip. He told Xiao not to waste the boss's extreme kindness. The next day, Chung Hao prepared to go to the beach with Xiao, but Tainan called to say Xiao called in sick and couldn't go as planned. Chung Hao flew like the wind to Zhao's house and addressed Jin Jun as aunt. He asked if Zhao's stomachache from the milk tea was so bad she needed. Her stomach pumped. Jun Jun said her niece was just feeling uncomfortable because she drank too much. Chung Hao heard Jun Jun was curious about his relationship with Xiao, so he immediately stood up to introduce himself. He is the chairman of Lin Corporation, born in the year of the dragon, Scorpio, and has houses and cars, but hasn't had time to count them all yet. His parents died early, so his grandfather raised him. Also, he had one relationship that ended 8 years ago. Recently, he collaborated with her, but it was strictly professional, since he didn't have time to prepare gifts. He asked to give her a high-end premium shopping cart. Zhenzhen suddenly remembered she had some business outside, and Chung Hao promised to take good care of Xiao. "Xiao, I'm sorry I bought too much milk tea and made you sick from drinking it." "Chung Hao, are you only taking care of me because you feel guilty?" But Chung Hao was a typical straight guy and still didn't understand why she was annoyed. He went to the kitchen to make porridge for Xiao, putting all his care into it. He brought the bowl out, but she had already fallen asleep. He blamed her for already liking him, but forgetting everything. He slowly leaned in and stole a kiss, as if making her pay back her debt to him. But Chung Hao didn't want to stop. He continued to reward himself for the 2 times he risked his life to save her. Xiao suddenly opened her eyes and asked Chung Hao what he was doing. He got flustered and urged her to get up and eat the porridge. Chung Hao saw Xiao burn her tongue and quickly took the blame, saying he forgot to blow on it. Xiao secretly smiled and obediently ate a bite of the slightly salty porridge. He told her to take good care of herself, and if she couldn't, she should come find him anytime. On Zhao's birthday, Chung Hao was restless trying to pick out a gift. Qingze remembered that every year, Chung Hao only gave him diving goggles. Chung Hao admitted he didn't understand things before, but now he knows to give things people actually need. Qingze wondered what kind of love potion Xiao had given Chung Hao. He thought most young girls liked bracelets and lipstick. Chung Hao thanked his good buddy for the advice, but still felt he had to bring a fragrant bouquet of flowers. Arriving at the door of the livestream room, Chung Hao heard Tainan opening gifts for Xiao. Fans sent her the trendiest lipstick-colored bracelet, and Tainan criticized people who gave flowers for lacking creativity. so he threw them out on Zhao's behalf. Hearing this, Cheng Hao frantically hugged his flowers and gifts and took them back. Seeing Cheng Hao looking gloomy, Jijun asked if he still hadn't confessed. She said that girls care about gifts, but they like it even more when you put in some heart to create a surprise. Unexpectedly, Xiao stood outside the door asking Xiao Lan about the person talking to Cheng Hao. Xiao Lan revealed that Qin Jijun was the CEO's only ex-girlfriend. Disappointed, Xiao left and made plans with her friends to go out and party for her birthday tonight. But Cheng Hao rushed over to block her path. Asking Xiao if she was busy and if she had plans to go to a bar with friends, he wanted to come along. Xiao heard the CEO didn't know how to drink or play dice, so she advised him to go home and do health exercises. At the bar, Xiao wouldn't let her friends talk bad about Cheng Hao being overbearing. Right then, he brought a cake over to wish her a happy birthday. Cheng Hao said it was his first time in a place like this, but he would give his all to play with everyone. As expected, he didn't know how to play dice, so he was repeatedly penalized with drinks and even had to go on stage to dance in front of everyone. As a result, Cheng Hao got so drunk he couldn't open his eyes. He leaned his head on Zhao's shoulder and asked if she was having fun. Xiao scolded the boss for his low tolerance and for not being honest. Xiao, I'm always sincere with you. Cheng Hao, did you love me at first sight? Kid, with us, love grew over time. Lin Xiao, I've secretly kissed you 3 times. Cheng Hao, you're such a creep. Lin Xiao, it's because you wouldn't take responsibility first. I know you believe in that plane that went missing for 30 years and suddenly reappeared. And you always hope your parents will come meet you in a parallel timeline. So would you believe that in another world, we've met more than once? And what's more, you still wouldn't take responsibility for me? Xiao, I spent all day thinking about what to get you. Then I realized what you need most is me. So I prepared a couple bracelets to offer myself to you. Uncle, are you really 30 or just a boy who just turned 13? Cheng Hao suddenly pulled Xiao close to his chest so she could feel his heart constantly racing for her. Lin Xiao, I love you. As soon as he finished speaking, he leaned down and touched her lips. The kiss was gentle yet firm, carrying all his long-suppressed feelings. Xiao trembled slightly and then closed her eyes, letting that moment silently etch itself into both their hearts. Waking up in the morning, Cheng Hao blamed himself for being so drunk that he lost his mind. He didn't know if his confession was successful after the kiss. Just then, Haifeng arrived to report the investigation results. He said Zhao's father, named Bai Jihong, used to be a representative for the people on Saming Island. But not long after the project started, he died in a fire. Arriving at the livestream room, Cheng Hao cleared his throat to signal Xiao. Unexpectedly, she made an excuse to go to the bathroom, making him suspect he had been rejected. Chasing after Xiao, Cheng Hao asked if she was also so drunk that she lost her memory. Xiao told him to keep his distance at the office, but shyly revealed the bracelet on her wrist. Lin Xiao, are you willing to be with me? Cheng Hao, do you really dare to forget my answer? Cheng Hao apologized, saying he only remembered the part where he kissed her. He took his girlfriend's hand and thanked her for agreeing to be with him. Xiao reminded him that they were at the office and shouldn't show off too much, but Cheng Hao didn't want to date in secret. Cheng Hao, you belong to me now, so you have to be good and do what I say. Cheng Hao felt a bit pouted, but accepted it. As long as he got some compensation from his girlfriend. While having lunch on the rooftop, Xiao was still worried someone would find them. Cheng Hao guaranteed that no one would be bored enough to run up to the roof in the middle of the day to eat. Xiao knew her boyfriend was feeling a bit sulky, so she fed him herself. Cheng Hao called it childish, but happily enjoyed the attention from his lover. Unexpectedly, a group of employees suddenly crowded onto the rooftop. He asked them if he could have the place to himself. The team of employees pretended not to see anything and immediately vanished from the CEO's sight. Cheng Hao continued to hold his mouth open, waiting for his girlfriend to feed him, but she was annoyed with his choice of an unreasonable location. Taking advantage of being seen, Cheng Hao immediately went public with their relationship on social media. Xiao thought his confession was totally corny. Just then, Cheng Hao brought warm milk to his girlfriend. Hey girlfriend, are you mad? Cheng Hao, did you just copy some confession poem from the internet? Xiao, I actually planned to write that I'm the king of hell and you're my white ghost messenger. Cheng Hao saw milk foam on Zhao's lips and wanted to know how it tasted. Xiao scolded Cheng Hao for acting without permission and wouldn't let him share her drink. Well then, girlfriend, I won't be polite anymore. As soon as he finished speaking, Cheng Hao leaned down to taste the milk foam on Zhao's lips. Cheng Hao thought that since they were already public, she might as well post about her love for him a bit sooner. Xiao was still weak in the knees from Cheng Hao's sudden kiss, completely unaware that all of this was a trick he had picked up from watching romance movies. Reading Cheng Hao's post about their relationship, Dan praised his overbearing style of confession, but she advised her best friend not to get too obsessed and to keep the feeling of freshness alive. Just then, Cheng Hao made a video call to his girlfriend. Girlfriend, I'm working overtime today. Can you come stay with me? If you're busy talking to your friend, just don't hang up the phone. Dan advised the two of them not to be so cheesy or they'd get diabetes. Looking through the phone, Chung Hao suddenly saw a restaurant employee who looked exactly like Huang Da. Right when Xiao hung up, Chung Hao tried to call back, but she didn't answer. He rushed over in his car to find Xiao and asked if she was okay. Xiao said she had just spilled coffee on her phone earlier. Xiao, it's good that you're okay. Seeing Xiao home, Chung Hao remembered the man's face was missing the scar. If he had also returned from the blue hole, he might have removed the scar to hide his identity. Chung Hao asked if her father had kept any USB drives when he was alive. She said she was too young back then to remember her father's belongings clearly. Chung Hao was still uneasy and wanted Xiao to stay at his house for a while. But Xiao felt it was a bit inconvenient, and she was sure Aunt Junjun would object. Chung Hao mentioned the company had a special employee dorm, and right then, he caught Aunt Junjun bringing a man home. Girlfriend, I don't think you can go home tonight. Chung Hao was smug, unable to hide his calculating smile. He waited with her until late, but the man still hadn't come out. Xiao called to ask her aunt for permission to stay at the company dorm. To her surprise, Junjun didn't stop her, only asking that she come visit once in a while. Xiao agreed to stay at the dorm on the condition that Chung Hao wouldn't have any bad intentions. Don't worry, kid. I'm not a bad guy. After bringing Lin Xiao to his house, Chung Hao announced that from now on, this place would be called a co-ed dorm. Lights out at exactly 10 p.m., doors locked at 11 p.m., and neither was allowed to enter the other's private space without permission. Xiao compared a man's mouth to a lying devil, but she figured it was better than sleeping on the street. Early in the morning, Chung Hao personally cooked a whole table of food. Xiao wondered, what turned you into a chef overnight? Chung Hao replied it was love, but Xiao couldn't help but spit her water right in his face. She quickly apologized and promised to eat every single bite. Chung Hao happily watched his girlfriend enjoy the meal, but he didn't expect her tiny stomach to actually fit all that food on the table. Xiao asked, are you complaining that I eat too much? He felt that a girl with a healthy appetite was blessed, so he actually loved it. Chung Hao told Xiao to get ready to go on a sea survey with him. Hearing that she occasionally gets seasick, he switched their transportation to a private helicopter. On a remote island, Chung Hao stared dazed at his girlfriend in her swimsuit. He didn't want other men to get a free show, so he quickly threw a towel over her. Xiao didn't want to ruin her overall look, but Chung Hao promised to hire a stylist to give her a different style later. He drove her along the white sands as the sea breeze tangled in her hair. Amidst the sound of the waves and small talk, they occasionally shared sweet and natural kisses, just like the breath of the sea itself. After a whole day of fun, Chung Hao asked if she was happy. She wondered why a work survey turned into a personal beach experience for the two of them. Just then, Zhao's little stomach announced it was snack time. Chung Hao remembered he had popcorn at home, so they could watch a movie together. Xiao picked a horror movie, and the smile on Chung Hao's face instantly died. He kept wiping sweat off his hands, trying to hide his fear. He opened his eyes just as a ghost appeared and screamed out of pure instinct. The first time he tried to wash his girlfriend's hair, he was so clumsy that he sprayed water all over his own face. Xiao had to share her towel so they could dry their hair together. He slowly leaned in and touched the lips that always kept him mesmerized. Going to see his grandfather, Chung Hao wanted to know more about his parents' deaths. Mr. Lin said Chung Hao's father worked very well with Qing's father, and the Saming Island project was going smoothly. Then, the boat carrying Chung Hao's parents hit a storm, and no one returned. However, Mr. Lin remembered that the pilot was a veteran with many years of experience. At the company, Chung Hao heard that Tainan had signed Xiao up for diving classes. He strictly forbade it because he was going to cancel the live stream diving segment. Qingze reminded Chung Hao that diving was the signature attraction of Saming Island. If Xiao wasn't suitable, Chung Hao could just switch to someone else. Tainan thought that even if Xiao didn't livestream, she could still learn to dive to improve her health. Who knows, if something unexpected happened, she might even be able to save herself. Chung Hao agreed with Tainan, so he wanted to go watch his girlfriend learn to dive. At the pool, Chung Hao kept lecturing her and giving her advice. She asked him not to worry because she had 2 professional coaches with her. Chung Hao agreed to sit obediently on the shore, but he made Lin Xiao promise not to push herself too hard. Every time Xiao dove into the water, Chung Hao couldn't sit still. He heard Tainan praise his girlfriend for being smart and couldn't hide the pride in his eyes. Just then, Xiao sank deep underwater, and Chung Hao frantically dove in to pull his girlfriend up. He cried and screamed while calling her to wake up. Lin Xiao, don't scare me. Xiao burst out laughing, proud of her own acting skills, but she didn't realize that Chung Hao was still shaking. Lin Xiao, do you want to die? If you disregard your life, I'll fulfill that wish for you. After a whole day of apologizing, Xiao still didn't get a single reply from Chung Hao. When she saw him return, she rushed out to greet her boyfriend but Cheng Hao walked straight into his room and locked the door. Xiao had to set up a table of tea and snacks to beg the great king of hell for forgiveness. She was willing to serve him like a slave for the rest of her life to repay him. "My lord, please just pay a little attention to me." Zhao's leg went numb, so she slipped and fell on the floor. Cheng Hao quickly opened the door and asked if she was faking it again. "Babe, I'm really in pain." Helping Xiao sit on the sofa, Cheng Hao gently massaged her leg. "Cheng Hao, I messed up. I shouldn't have joked with my life and made you worry." "Lin Xiao, there's a limit to being thoughtless. Don't use your impulsiveness to hurt the care people have for you." "Cheng Hao, I'm sorry." "Lin Xiao, I forgive you. But absolutely never let there be a next time." To make amends, Xiao specially cooked a table of delicious food. Cheng Hao reminded her that one meal wasn't enough to make him stop being mad. He wanted to be the one to choose the movie tonight. Cheng Hao thought a psychological drama would help set the mood, but he didn't expect so many steamy scenes. Xiao nervously finished her drink and gathered her courage to take a step toward him, but Cheng Hao quietly backed away. Xiao didn't want Cheng Hao to keep avoiding her, so she gave him a stubborn kiss. Cheng Hao realized Xiao was touching his chest and flatly refused, because he felt they were moving too fast, and besides, Xiao was still young. "Cheng Hao, I'm already past the legal marriage age. Kid, wait until we're married. Then we'll see." Xiao was overwhelmed with emotion when she heard Cheng Hao wanted to marry her. In the bathroom, Cheng Hao told himself to stay calm. A cold, rational man like him couldn't be as childish and impulsive as a brat 10 years younger than him. Coming out and seeing Xiao asleep on the chair, Cheng Hao tenderly stroked her hair. "Xiao, in another timeline I once saved you, and I also once hurt you. But this time please forgive my selfishness for choosing to hold onto you tightly. If fate decrees that I must die, I only hope you can go on living a good life." The next day, while live streaming, Xiao accidentally dropped her phone. She noticed a small device fall off her keychain. Cheng Hao told her it was a bug, and he was afraid someone was secretly stalking Lin Xiao. She remembered a time at a restaurant when a staff member accidentally spilled coffee on her phone. He took the phone to wipe it clean before returning it to her. Now, Cheng Hao was certain he hadn't misidentified Scarface. He said he would send people to protect Xiao and told her she absolutely had to stay alert to her surroundings. Seeing the 2 rows of bodyguards outside, Xiao felt Cheng Hao was being a bit dramatic. She invited Dan Dan to go shopping to pick out some gifts for her fans. Dan Dan remembered a very interesting shop and led Xiao in through the back door. The bodyguards saw a girl wearing the exact same outfit as Xiao, so they felt safe guarding the front entrance. Halfway through, Dan Dan remembered she hadn't called the bodyguards. She told Xiao to wait while she wouldn't let them know, but when Dan Dan came back, Xiao was nowhere to be found. After hearing the news, Cheng Hao anxiously searched for Xiao. Suddenly, he felt dizzy, and the voice of his girlfriend calling for help rang in his ears. Following her phone's GPS, he finally found her. "Lin Xiao, I told you to always keep your ringer on. You just treat my words like a breeze blowing by. Do you really have to keep everyone on edge before you're satisfied?" Xiao bowed and apologized to everyone, then asked a bodyguard to take her home. Knowing he was a bit too harsh, Cheng Hao sent an apology text along with a digital red envelope to his girlfriend. He waited until she accepted his gift before he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Just then, Haifeng arrived to report that an old neighbor had witnessed the fire at Zhao's house firsthand. He said he was coming back late from fishing and caught someone secretly starting the fire at Bai Jihong's house. He was afraid of being silenced, so he didn't dare tell the truth. Cheng Hao didn't expect Zhao's father's death to be linked to Lin Corporation. He quickly reviewed the Saming Island project documents from 18 years ago and suddenly found a person who looked quite a lot like Scarface. He took a picture and sent it to Haifeng to investigate. Haifeng reported that Huangdi used to work in the shipping department at Lin Corporation. However, he had supposedly died in the boat accident years ago. Cheng Hao remembered that his parents and the other employees on the boat all died, except for Huangdi and Qing's father. Running to find Xiao, Cheng Hao held her tightly in his arms. He decided to tell everything to Xiao and her aunt so they would be more alert. Zhen remembered that after Zhao's mother passed away, her brother only asked her to take care of his daughter. She thought the USB had been destroyed in the fire, but Cheng Hao was sure Zhao's father had hidden it, which is why the mastermind had been searching for it all these years. In her bedroom, Xiao searched through a box of old things. Since her parents died young, she had always kept all her childhood keepsakes. Cheng Hao looked at a photo of Zhao's parents that had a caption, "Where you stand decides the view you see." Xiao said it was her father's teaching, but Cheng Hao suspected the USB was hidden right under his feet. Returning to Saming Island, Cheng Hao looked for the spot from the photo. He scolded his girlfriend for being stubborn and following him, because now she was so tired she was out of breath. Xiao knew he was worried and had to keep her by his side to feel at peace. Based on the direction of the sunlight, Cheng Hao judged that the location was in the southwest part of the island. Luckily, there was only one path on the island that went southwest. Cheng Hao demanded his girlfriend reward him for his intelligence, but Xiao ignored him. Going deeper into the forest, Cheng Hao finally found the tree from the photo. He immediately dug at the exact spot where Zhao's father had stood, and sure enough, a wooden box containing a USB was buried there. Unexpectedly, Huangde was just waiting for them to find the evidence. He rushed in to attack Cheng Hao, carrying a sharp knife. Seeing Cheng Hao in danger, Xiao had to throw the USB to Huangde. However, he still wouldn't let them go. Heifeng arrived just in time to stop Huangde, who saw too many people and ran off to save his own skin. Cheng Hao told Heifeng to chase him and get the evidence back, but Xiao had already quickly swapped the USB. "My little girl, why are you so smart?" Heifeng urged the CEO to leave the mountain soon for fear of another ambush. Back home, Xiao opened her father's old USB, which contained a recording of her mother saying hi to the baby boy in her womb. Just then, Qing's father brought men to search the house. He warned Bai Jihong that if he kept spreading news about Lin Corporation building the island illegally, he wouldn't live in peace. Zhao's mother was pushed, had a miscarriage, and passed away. Cheng Hao played the second recording. Zhao's father was determined to report Du Zhongshu. But Du Zhongshu threatened Zhao's life to make her father leave the island quietly. Bai Jihong said he had gone to see Chairman Lin Heng. Lin Heng didn't know about what Du Zhongshu had done and promised to give the island residents an explanation. Cheng Hao didn't expect that for all these years. He had trusted the enemy who murdered his parents. On the other side, Huangde discovered Xiao had swapped the USB. Du Zhongshu scolded his useless subordinate and kicked Huangde out. He claimed everything he did was for the sake of Lin Corporation. Du Zhongshu remembered that back then. He explained he didn't mean to kill Bai Jihong's wife. But Cheng Hao's father blamed his best friend for forcibly tearing down residents' homes and injuring them. Du Zhongshu complained that he risked his life for Lin Corporation, only to end up as a useless pawn. On her way to find Cheng Hao, Xiao happened to see a stray dog. She followed it and unintentionally arrived at a wide-open square. Under the moonlight stretching across the stone floor, Cheng Hao sat at a piano, the notes playing slowly in the quiet space. Her eyes were dazed, and her heart softened at a silhouette blending into the moonlight and music. Xiao secretly held up her phone to capture Cheng Hao's focused look, but then his eyes flickered slightly, and the natural vibe faded away. "Lin Xiao, when we first met, you were like a disaster falling on my head. You probably don't know that in just 2 short months, I've faced countless unbelievable incidents. But the biggest incident is that I fell in love with you. I don't know if I'll survive this crisis. I just know that if I don't propose to you now, I'll definitely regret it. Lin Xiao, will you marry me? From now on, I'll be your husband and your family. I will use everything I have to make you happy every day. Cheng Hao, you aren't allowed to scold me. You have to love me forever. Cheng Hao, I agree to be your wife." Cheng Hao didn't hesitate for a single second and immediately slid the ring on Zhao's hand. He leaned down for a deep and gentle kiss, as if to mark the moment she officially belonged to him. The next day, everyone at Lin Corporation received a wedding invitation from the CEO. They wondered how many lifetimes of good deeds Xiao had done to conquer the frozen king of hell. At the meeting of the two families, Cheng Hao obediently gave a red envelope to his fiancée. "Mr. Lin sent over the engagement gift, a gemstone necklace that Cheng Hao's grandmother had left for her granddaughter-in-law. He also gifted the couple a house designed to look exactly like Zhao's old family home on Saming Island." Mr. Lin blamed himself for not being a good judge of character, which ended up hurting both of their parents. He told Cheng Hao that he must cherish this heaven-sent match. Seeing Cheng Hao unable to hide his sweet smile, Qingze asked if his best friend called him over just to show off their love. Cheng Hao wondered, "If I have a fallout with your father, what will you do?" Going to see his father, Qingze asked if Saming Island was really that important. He advised his father to stop and not commit any more crimes. To him, his father was family, but Cheng Hao was like a biological brother. Qingze didn't want to see the two people closest to him hurting each other. By the shore, Cheng Hao didn't understand why they had to travel all this way to take wedding photos when photoshopping them would have been much faster. However, when he turned his head to see his bride looking radiant in the golden sunlight, he suddenly realized that all the effort was totally worth it. A king of hell who was usually so cold finally followed the photographer's directions, posing in every way just to capture their sweetest moments together. Before the engagement ceremony, Xiao was so emotional she couldn't sleep. With a look full of adoration, Cheng Hao agreed to watch a movie with her. The sad love story made Xiao tear up. "Cheng Hao, I've dreamed many times that you saved me and fell to the bottom of the sea. I always wonder if that was from a past life or if it will happen in the future. Xiao, if our ending is destined to be tragic, would you regret being with me? Cheng Hao, no matter what, I will always choose you." On the day of the engagement, Cheng Hao told Heifeng to monitor everything closely. But his bride woke up late and had to carry her shoes while running to the ceremony, seeing his wife walking toward him looking radiant. Cheng Hao asked why a fairy wasn't in heaven, but had come down to the human world instead. Xiao said the god of marriage pulled a red thread and told her that her destiny was in the human world. Wife, congratulations on finding me. Just then, Tainan announced the start of the ceremony and invited the bride and groom onto the stage. Cheng Hao was so nervous, he had to read his speech from a piece of paper. Lin Xiao, I once just wanted to live a lonely, quiet life, until you suddenly fell into my world like a shooting star. Back then, I was flustered and confused, not knowing that heaven had granted me a cycle of memories just so I could love you. Wife, no matter how many times time and space shift, I will always choose to love and protect you. Actually, Qingza had told him to add that part because girls love hearing that stuff. Cheng Hao nervously placed the ring on Zhao's finger and waited for her to tie their lives together. He heard Tainan invite the groom to kiss the bride and wondered, wasn't this part supposed to be skipped? Tainan said Director Du specifically kept this segment. Cheng Hao couldn't bring himself to kiss her in front of so many people, but the bride suddenly pulled him in and locked her lips with his. Xiao warned Cheng Hao that if he ever dared to act like a bossy CEO again, the person by his side from now on would be his personal Grim Reaper. During the toast, Du Zhongshu toasted the couple to grow old together. Cheng Hao snatched the wine glass, asking for permission to drink on behalf of his wife. He pulled her away to dance to avoid a direct confrontation with his enemy. Du Zhongshu ordered his henchmen to start their move. After trapping Cheng Hao, Huang forced him to sign the papers if he didn't want his wife to die. Cheng Hao wondered how Du Zhongshu was still hiding at a time like this. He showed himself and advised Cheng how not to be so stubborn about digging up the past. Du Zhongshu blamed himself for being too merciful back then, letting the two little wolves live for another 18 years. He didn't care if Cheng Hao could come back from the dead. In the end, he would still die at his hands. But Du Zhongshu gave him a chance to save his wife by signing the stock transfer agreement. Cheng Hao sighed and revealed that Qingza was in the bag right next to him. It turned out Qingza had bribed 2 of his father's henchmen. He asked his father why he insisted on committing a crime. Du Zhongshu hated that the Lin family only treated him like a house dog. But Qingza reminded him that Chairman Lin treated his father like a son and even raised him after his mother died. Du Zhongshu said if he hadn't acted back then, Qingza would be wandering the streets right now. He told Huang to make a move, but Qingza lunged forward to take the knife for his best friend. Qingza was willing to pay back the debt to the Lin family on his father's behalf. Just then, the police surrounded them and caught everyone in their net. Xiao also ran over, breathing a sigh of relief to see that Cheng Hao was still safe. Finally, the mastermind was caught, so Cheng Hao could be at peace with the one he loved. His kiss landed softly, as if touching the deepest part of Zhao's mind. Memories she thought were long gone suddenly came rushing back. From their first bickering meeting, the arguments where neither would back down, to every silent fluttering moment and falling in love without even realizing it. Cheng Hao, you saved me twice in another timeline. Xiao, you finally remembered me. Xiao, thank you for coming into my life. Visiting his parents' graves, Xiao reported that the bad guy had been caught. Qingza also asked to leave the hospital early to visit his aunt and uncle. He believed that everyone must take responsibility for their actions, whether they're friends or family. We can't let them get away with doing wrong. Qingza wanted to leave Lin Corporation to travel the world, and he told his best friend to take care. Standing by the shore, Xiao thanked her husband for saving her so many times. Cheng Hao remembered he had to go through several timelines to save Zhao's precious life, so she had to pay him back carefully. Finally, after all the storms, they still chose to hold each other's hands tightly. Maybe in countless other timelines, they would just pass each other by. But in this world, they are happy together. If all the things we missed out on can be fulfilled in another parallel universe, then surely there will be no more regrets in life.